Yo, what's good, y'all? Crazy week we done had so far, man. Crazy week.
Again!
So much shit done happened. And I've been dying to get on here and let it all out with everybody. Right? Boy, niggas is losing their citizenship. Pass the joints. Thank you.
Welcome back, Weenie.
Appreciate you, man. Been showing a lot of love. I appreciate y'all over there. But yeah, man, it like niggas is losing birthrights. Niggas is losing DEI incentives. I'm just mad I'm at the point that I have to defend DEI. Like, because it's just not the way they try to make it sound. It's just, this shit is stupid, man. But we got a lot of shit to cover, bro. It's so much shit going on, bro. Like, it's so much. And, like, all of it's been making me lose my mind. And it ain't the same when I can't do it with everybody. You feel me? It's gonna hit better. I know I do my reactions off to the side, but I started off doing them on lives, but you know it'll help the editing process a little bit more, and I think the content could be more engaging because I can engage with people at the same time while I do the reactions. You feel me? So I'm gonna try to start doing my reactions on live. I'm gonna try to. It ain't always gonna happen, of course, but that's the goal. I'm trying to think. The first thing I think I want to do is this fucking Trump conference, bro, because this man is out of his fucking mind. He's out of his mind. Oh man, it don't make no sense. I don't know if y'all. What? Wait, what? Okay. I gotta figure out how I want my chat to look. I don't know if I like this big ass block. I refreshed it too, so it should have updated to change the opacity a little bit. I don't know why it still look like that. Hopefully it changes at some point, but it'll definitely be changed next time. All right, so we're going to get to this Trump conference first, probably. We're going to do this first.
Thank you.
Ooh, that man, oh boy. All right, man. I haven't
Nice
listened
to
to
see you.
I saw the highlights of this, but I haven't listened to the whole thing, and I know he talks slow, so we're going to speed it up, and it's a little lengthy.
Some very familiar faces. Well, thank you very much, and it's an honor to be here today. We have first full day as president. We're back, and we had a great first term, but we're going to have an even better second term, and I think we're going to do things that people will be shocked at. We're
Oh yeah, that's a
starting
fact.
off with tremendous investment coming into our country at levels that nobody's really ever seen before, and they're very
Everything is a level we've never seen before. Everything is something we haven't seen before.
happy with the fact that I won the race and that they feel confident in their investments, and it's big money and high quality people. So my first day back from having a nice life, it's my honor to welcome three of the world's leading technology CEOs. And in the case of Larry Ellison, it's well beyond technology. He's sort of CEO of everything. He's an amazing man, an amazing
okay.
business person. But to announce the largest AI infrastructure project by far in history, and it's all taking place right here in America. As you know, there's great competition for AI
In
and
America.
other things, and they're coming in at the highest level. We're joined by Oracle Executive Chairman Larry Ellison, SoftBank CEO, my friend Masa Yoshi-san.
I
And
just feel like people are around him getting in his ear, like, telling him like, yeah, invest this money in AI. It's gonna be so great. You're gonna make groundbreaking strides in America. And like, bro, like we need some regulations on AI. We don't need you to Mark Strike. What's good, bro? Appreciate you for sliding. So I think that he doesn't. First of all, I'm not convinced Trump even knows what AI is and how far it can go. But I think these people are just like, yeah, let's get this shit rolled out. They need to put some regulations on AI because the shit is getting out of hand. You always talk about fake news, but I bet you believe AI. He don't even know the difference when he was saying Kamala's crowd was AI and shit like that. Like, oh my God.
CEO of Open AI, and I would say by far the leading expert based on everything I read, Sam Altman. So that's great that you're coming in together. That's a massive group of talent and money. Together, these world-leading technology giants are announcing the formation of Stargate. So put that name down in your books, because I think you're going to hear a lot about it in the future. A new American company that will invest $500 billion at least in AI infrastructure in the United States, and very.
He wants to put 500 in AI, but he's literally trying to reduce all these green projects and acting like climate change is non-existent, but you want to put 500 billion into AI. This is insane, bro.
Very quickly, moving very rapidly, creating over 100,000 American jobs almost immediately.
I was just finna say, like, ain't AI replacing jobs? He talking about it's creating jobs. I'm not saying it's not creating jobs, because people got to work to build the AI, but AI is literally taking away jobs. So what's the long-term goal? Because I don't see more AI investment creating jobs in the future, Mr. America First, Mr. Giving jobs back to America. Let's tariff everybody, and because everybody knows what a tariff is. Like, this make sense.
This monumental undertaking is a resounding declaration of confidence in America's potential under a new president. Let me be a new president. I didn't say it, they did. So I appreciate that, fellas. But it'll ensure the future of technology. What we want to do is we want to keep it in this country. China is a competitor, and others are competitors. We want.
Exactly. He's just like, what are people talking about right now? Let me be involved in it. Like, he doesn't understand anything. The other day he just said, it might be this conference. I saw a clip, or maybe it was something else, where he thought Spain was a part of BRICS. He thought Spain was part of BRICS. He doesn't even know. He's just saying shit that he hears people talk about and doesn't understand it at all.
In this country, and we're making it available. I'm going to help a lot through emergency declarations, because we have an emergency. We have to get this stuff built. So they have to produce a lot of electricity, and we'll make it possible for them to get that production done very easily at their own plants if they want, where they'll build at the plant, the AI plant, they'll build energy generation, and that will be incredible. But it's technology and artificial intelligence, all made in the USA. Beginning immediately, Stargate will be building the physical and virtual infrastructure to power the next generation of advancements in AI, and this will include the construction of colossal data centers, very, very massive structures. I was in the real estate business. These buildings, these are big, beautiful buildings. They're going to employ a lot of people.
I hate
and
YouTube.
Physical campuses and
Mark,
locations
I see
currently being
your chat is up there,
They're
but
making their
it don't
choices
be in
and
the
locations. I think
YouTube
they have their
chat. It's
choice.
so annoying.
I'd like to ask Larry
Just
Salmon,
because you said the word
Masa,
drugs, and I
say a
don't
few
even
words and
I don't
just
even
talk
have
about a
my
little bit about
chat
what they're
set
doing,
to
and if you have any questions, and
get
then we'll
rid of
go into a
stuff
couple
like
of other
that. It's so
subjects also. But
annoying.
this is, to me, a very big thing. $500 billion Stargate project. I think it's going to be something that's very special. It'll lead to something that could be the biggest of all. So, Larry, maybe we'll start with you, and we'll go down the line. Thank you.
Yeah, exactly. Like, he doesn't. Okay, I don't care about this AI shit. I want to get to the crap that he was talking about. I don't care about AI. I don't want to hear any of it. I don't care.
Yeah, just 1 second. We'll finish up. But these are highly respected guys. I was shocked with Larry, because I don't even think Larry does this stuff. You did a very good job for a guy that doesn't do it much, right? But he's so respected, and the group, and it's really an honor. But for Larry to be here and do this is very unusual, because he doesn't do this stuff. He doesn't need it. He does, and you don't need it, do you? Huh? You don't need it. But I think it's an honor to the country. It's a great honor that this group, these are the top people, that they're going to do it, and they're going to do it here, and we're going to make it as easy as it can be. A $500 million Stargate project comes in addition to a separate pledge between $100 and $200 billion from, as we know, from Masa, that we talked about before. Also $20 billion from the MAC, which was a great.
Bro, this AI shit.
It's going to be the gold slate on the court. I'd say, generally speaking, when energy comes down, a big baby, and we declared a national energy emergency instead of a lot of different rules, regulations, and things that really put our country at a big disadvantage. We permanently stopped government censorship and restored free speech. That was signed yesterday. We were renamed the Gulf of Mexico.
Wait.
Baby
Okay.
drill down, and to stop the invasion of. AI seems to be very hot. It seems to be the thing that a lot of smart people are looking at very strongly. And our country will be prospering like never before. I think that's true, and it's going to be the golden age of America. As I say, yesterday we had the most.
He talks more about what's gonna be instead of what he's going to do. Like, I don't want to hear you keep saying America's going to be great. We're going to do this. We're going to do all this. Just say what you want to do And people should be able to get on board with that. Just stop saying what's so great.
Ambition.
Because the problem is when he actually says what he's going to do, even people that voted for him are like, wait a minute. Because now he's
ambitious, action-oriented day of any administration in history. No, there's never been a first day like yesterday, as you know.
See?
I signed a sweeping slate of executive orders to stop the invasion of our borders. I launched a government-wide effort to defeat inflation and bring down the cost of daily life and bring down the cost of energy, magnificently bring it down. And when energy comes down, Larry, I'd say generally speaking, when energy comes down, everything else comes down. The prices of food and the prices of everything else come down. Energy is the big...
Like, he's acting like Joe Biden wasn't producing energy. Like, he's done the most we've ever done. Stop pretending like you did something. You're going to do something more. Even if you do more, it's not as if he wasn't doing the most at his point in time, at his presidency.
That's the big baby. And we declared a national energy emergency.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to lie. I don't see him making it to the end of this 4 years healthy. If he makes it to the end of the 4 years, I don't see him doing it in the best shape. I'm not going to lie.
Drill, baby, drill, our term that we use. We're going to drill, baby, drill like never before. We ended destructive DEI mandates across the federal government and returned our country to a merit-based system and a common sense system. As you know, the Supreme Court gave us a decision on merit, where things in this country can be based on merit now instead of a lot of different rules, regulations, and things that really put our country at a big disadvantage. We permanently stopped government censorship and restored free speech. That was signed yesterday. We were renamed.
You're the king of stifling free speech. I don't know why he keeps saying that. And then on top of that, he's saying we restore free speech as if it went somewhere. But not only that, you're trying to tell people there's only man and women. Like, first of all, we all acknowledge there's two sexes. He keeps saying there's two genders, there's two sexes. The gender stuff, figure that out on your own. But now are you saying that people can't use the terms like they, them, or whatever? Like, if they want to do that, I don't give a fuck. What are you saying like there's only two genders, man and woman? There's two sexes, male and female, yes. The man and woman stuff, there's a conversation to be had, but they don't want to have it. Like, there's no confusion. You're making this more than what it is.
Gulf of Mexico, the Gulf of America.
Yeah, Trump is literally, and Trump is not only, they act like he's masculine, he's literally a perpetual victim. He's always a victim, but always trying to look like the victor. And then it's like, you run from accountability from every single thing you do, yet they herald him as this great beacon of masculinity. Get the fuck out of here. Then he eats like shit. He's not in shape. What are we talking about?
Sounds so beautiful, the Gulf of America, and returned the name of a great president, William McKinley, to Mount McKinley. They took off the name, and he was actually a great president. He was a very, very successful businessman. He ran for governor of Ohio. He won and did a great job as governor, ran for president, and he won. He was assassinated, ultimately, in his second term, unfortunately. But he was the tariff king, and I don't think he was as bad as I am. I think I believe in him even more than him, but he believed in him very strongly.
I just don't get how he can just keep thinking that tariffs won't affect us. Why everybody around him is saying, he's like, no, they won't. No, they won't. What are you saying? And you would think that you would create the industries first and then try to implement tariffs. Maybe if that's really the route you want to go, you don't put tariffs on, make everything cost more for us, and then try to build the industry after the fact. It wouldn't work that way. That doesn't work. I muted it. Damn.
At its richest from 1870 to 1913, we had the most. That was when we were the richest, relatively speaking. We were the richest during that period of time. That was tariffs from other countries. And our administration is moving with unprecedented urgency and speed to confront every single crisis facing us, and we'll get the job done. And again, I want to thank Sam and Masa and Larry for being here. It's an honor to have them. And we'll take a few questions if you want.
The executive orders, you would agree that it's never acceptable to assault a police officer.
Sure.
Right? So
right.
If I can, among those you pardoned, DJ Rodriguez, he drove a stun gun into the neck of a DC police officer who was abducted by the mob that day. He later confessed on video to the FBI and pleaded guilty for his crimes. Why does he deserve a pardon?
Well, I don't know. Was it a pardon? Because we're looking at commutes and we're looking at pardons.
Well,
we'll take a look at everything.
Well, I don't know. Was it a pardon? We're looking at communes. The man pardoned everybody from J6 pretty much. He pardoned everybody. The man said you're against violence against the police. Now all of a sudden, wait, did he get a pardon? I don't know if you got a pardon. You pardoned everybody involved with J6. You didn't look at the cases like you said. You didn't do none of that. You just pardoned every J6er. So what is this bullshit? Again, a man is not being accountable for his actions. He can't even answer this question.
No, was it a pardon? Because we're looking at commutes and we're looking at pardons. Okay, well, we'll take a look at everything.
He said it was a pardon. We'll take a look. You did it already. What are you taking a look at? You've done it. They got pardoned. People have gone home. The leader of the Proud Boys, he went home.
Say this, murderers today are not even charged.
Bro. Y'all. Oh my God. Murderers these days, they're not charged. Fucking answer the question, bro. Nobody asked you if murderers get charged, which they do, you fucking liar. What do you mean murderers don't get charged? What does it have to do with you releasing people that beat the police during January 6th? Please tell me how those two things are related. Are you kidding me? Show me a murderer that everybody know they're a murderer and don't get charged. Show me one. Show me one person that we know did murdered and they didn't get charged. Please.
Look at everything, but I can say this: murderers today are not even charged.
This is such a
You
lie.
have murderers that aren't.
Like, how do we get to the point where people find this type of shit acceptable? Imagine if I just got up as the president of the United States and said, yeah, women today, they don't give birth. Like, what is happening? Like, people voted for this. A man that stood, the president of the United States is telling America that murderers don't get charged. Known murderers, because that's the only way you can charge them. Or alleged murderers. But he's pretending like we can identify this person as a murderer and then nothing happens.
Charged all over. You take a look at what's gone on in Philadelphia. Take a look at what's gone on in L.A., where people murder people and they don't get charged.
No, that doesn't happen if we know what happened. And then on top of that, when he's talking about riots and stuff like that, to my understanding, nobody's out there willfully trying to kill people. I think that things get out of hand and some people might die in the midst of chaos, and that's not okay, and people should be held accountable for it. But don't pretend that there are people walking up to other people, putting a 9 to and it's over. That's not happening, bro.
These people have already served years in prison, and they've served them viciously. It's a disgusting prison. It's been horrible. It's inhumane. It's been a terrible.
What is inhumane? Wait. So why don't you? Okay, if jail's inhumane, make sure we make jail not inhumane. That's the first step, because if people commit the crimes, they're supposed to go to jail. All you're saying is people shouldn't go to jail for committing crimes. You pardoned everybody, violent or not violent. You didn't look through it. You just said, y'all my niggas, come on, come home. Like, that's all you did.
Thing. I also say this: you go to Portland, where they wrapped police officers, shot police officers, nothing happened to anybody. You go to Seattle, where they took over.
Like, you're lying. It's just, I just don't get, like, I know politicians lie, but you don't, when politicians lie, I've said this before, they lie by embellishing and giving you hope in something that may not be attainable, but the goal hopefully is there, and they want to strive towards this utopia that we know we never have. This man lies about things that happened in the past and we can go back and reference. He doesn't even try to shape the narrative in his favor all the time to be believable. He full-blown makes things up out of thin air that we can literally go back and be like, yeah, that's not true. You didn't just misrepresent it. This isn't a thing. And people are like, yes, vote for him.
A big chunk of the city, and people died. Portland, a lot of people died. Wait a minute. And you go also take a look at.
I got to keep talking so you can either forget, or I talk so much that I have to move on to the next person and not acknowledge what you just said.
Minneapolis, because I was there and I watched it. And if I didn't bring in the National Guard, that city wouldn't even exist today. People were killed and nobody went to jail. So these people have already served a long period of time, and I made a decision to give up.
Wait, past the joints. Wait, are you trying to be like Trump and start a narrative, or were you alluding to something? What? I don't know nothing about this one. You said he sent the goon to Vancouver, Washington, and executed a man in his parking lot.
Joe Biden gave a pardon yesterday to a lot of criminals. These are criminals that he gave a pardon to.
You gave a pardon to criminals too. First of all, I will believe you have to be a criminal to get a pardon, right? That's kind of the point, right?
And you should be asking that question. Why did he give a pardon to all of these people that committed crimes? Why did he give
Why are you giving pardon? What are you talking about?
Pardon to the J6.
A Vancouver man killed a Proud Boy at a Portland protest in self-defense. Trump's response was to send that goon squad. What? A Vancouver man killed a Proud Boy at Portland. Excuse me. Okay. So did he get off for self-defense? Like, is that what happened? Because I get what you're saying now, but did they go to court for this, or did he actually get like get off on self-defense.
Unselect committee when they burned and destroyed all documents which showed that they did what was wrong, not me. Wait a minute.
I just love how he makes all these grandiose claims about like people conspiracies and what's the word I'm looking for? Just basically people doing things they're not supposed to do behind the scenes that's literally clearly illegal and corrupt. I couldn't think of corrupt. All these corrupt things, and then you'll have no proof of it whatsoever. You just say it, and because you can't prove it's wrong, you can't prove a negative, he thinks people are just supposed to believe it. They killed him in his apartment park. What? Hey, yo, that's nuts. I got to look into that, bro. I got to look into that. That's crazy.
Wait a minute. Why did they give a pardon to all of his relatives? His brother, who made millions of dollars, to all these different people. He gave pardon.
Why you give a pardon to somebody that murdered people? Why you give a pardon to all these people that some of these police officers lost their job, their eyesight, their fingers? What are you talking about? Why'd you give those people a pardon?
Pardons. That's the question you should be answering. All right, go ahead. Yeah, please.
Like I said, he kept talking. Yeah, go ahead. He just left it. He did not answer that man's question whatsoever. He just said, yeah, I'm not talking to you no more. Next question, because I'm going to bring up what I want to say. I'm not going to answer what you asked, which is why did you, if you support the police and people not being violent towards police, but I'm going to just ignore the fact that you asked me that and move on to the next person. Got it. Cool.
Can I just follow up about your Steve, can I just follow up that really fast?
No. That's enough. Go ahead.
No. See, this isn't. Oh man, appreciate the new sub. Oh God, this is insane, bro. I'm finna lose my mind.
Tell us about your meeting with Speaker Johnson, Senator Thune. Did you reach any conclusion on this one big?
Pretty much. I think we have a good situation now. It's been in some ways made simpler by Los Angeles because they're going to need a lot of money. And generally speaking, I think you'll find that a lot of Democrats are going to be asking for help. So I think maybe that makes it more one-sided. I think we're going to do very well. Look, we're going to take care of Los Angeles. I'm going there. I'm going to North Carolina, which has been abandoned by the Democrats. And I'm going to North Carolina, very importantly, first. I'll be there on Friday. And then I'm going from there to Los Angeles. And then I'm going to Nevada. And I'm really going to Nevada to thank them for the vote because we won Nevada overwhelmingly, and that's usually
what the fuck? Why are you going to a state to wait? First of all, so you're saying you don't? People voted for you in every single state, no matter what state you won. People voted for you in every state in America. Why are you acting like because you won the state, the entire state supports you, and you're saying fuck the states that don't? You got to go to LA because of the fires, but what message are you telling people if I don't care? First of all, the Republicans have been out here saying that they don't want to give aid to states that didn't support them and whatever. So that's number one. I've never seen a politician be like, if you didn't vote for me, you gonna have to figure it out. Like, this is crazy. Thank you for the name. Oh, Rhino. I know about Rhino. I know that situation. I didn't put two and two together because I didn't know the place. I do know about the Rhino situation. I do know about that. Not every detail, but I didn't know where it took place, but I knew about it. I know generally what had happened with that situation. And yes, that shit was crazy. That was crazy. And it was self-defense.
And I'm really going to Nevada to thank them for the vote because we won Nevada overwhelmingly, and that's usually a Democrat vote. And I just want to go there to thank the people of Nevada for the big vote.
See, for the big vote. Like, why are you going to a state just to say thank you for the vote? So you saying fuck like this?
The leaders of the Proud Boys and the Oath Keepers were free following their pardons yesterday. Yep. At the time back in 2021, you urged them to stand back and stand by. Is there now a place for them in the political conversation?
Well, we have to see. They've been given a pardon. I thought their sentences were ridiculous and excessive.
The person that led the group of people to storm the Capitol, their punishment is ridiculous because they followed. It's all ridiculous because they follow you. You want to investigate people that just wanted to make sure that you weren't committing crimes. You think they're corrupt. But anybody that does anything, if somebody shot another person on the street for Trump, Trump would not care. Trump would not treat them as if they're a criminal. If somebody was like, you don't like Trump, bow. Trump will be like, well, you know, I think that person just was exercising their right of the Second Amendment. They didn't like their free speech, so they impeded on it, and they used the gun to show that they had a Second Amendment right. Trump would not excuse somebody killing somebody for him. He would not excuse it whatsoever.
One of the guys took down a flag that was an anti-American flag, and he was given years in jail. I don't know the exact number, but he was given many years in jail. I thought it was very excessive. And
you think it's excessive? All they did was follow the law. Them people got sentences according to what they were found guilty of.
Cases that we looked at, these were people that actually love our country, so we thought a pardon would be appropriate. Yeah.
Is it also true in your conversations?
These people love their country, so hey, I'll give him credit for standing on his conviction and his belief. I truly don't think it's one of two things. He's either crazy and not in his right mind and thinks it's stolen for real, or he's lying. Either way, that's unacceptable for a president. But I appreciate the fact that he's trying to be consistent.
Today that you asked them to consider recess appointments for cabinet officials?
I think, yeah, if it's needed. I don't think it's going to be needed. Marco, as you know, got passed overwhelmingly with 99-0, which is pretty.
And why you think that is because Rubio is a sane person. That's why. He's just a Republican. The other, not all, a lot of your other picks are freaking weirdos and loyalists. That's it. That's why Rubio got in easy. Do we know what's the verdict with Pete Hegseth? Let me look that up.
Amazing. Marco's going to do a great job, Secretary of State, but he just got, I guess he was the first one and just got approved. That's some vote, 99-0, and the nothing was a vote that he would have gotten if we wanted to do it. But you know whose vote that was? Who's doing a great job right now?
It looks like senators received affidavit containing new allegations against Pete Hegseth. So he's steadily having allegations and shit. He ain't got passed yet. Susan Collins, troubling Hegseth FBI report omitted key information. So it's still information coming out about Pete that's making him look bad. So I don't know if he's going to get accepted or not, but it's not looking good. So it's just like you just pick all these freaking weirdos and shit like that.
Now as vice president.
You also talk about some sort of a trade or a deal involving wildfire relief in extension for a debt.
Well, what I really want to have done, I was talking about this with the guys back in the Oval Office. Los Angeles has massive amounts of water available to it. All they have to do is turn the valve, and that's the valve coming back from and down from the Pacific Northwest, where millions of gallons of water a week and a day, even in many cases, pours into California, goes all through California down to Los Angeles, and they turned it off. It's off now. The valve it turns toward the Pacific Ocean, and all that water goes pouring into the Pacific Ocean. If they did what I told them to do, they wouldn't do it because politically they didn't think it was good. I think it's great politically. I think they're dead politically. What they've done, they've destroyed the city. What they've done to that city is unbelievable. There's sprinklers in there like these right here that you see. None of them had any water in them. They didn't have any water. The fire hydrants, 40% of them had no water. The brush was just dry. Everything was dry. The sprinklers on the lawn weren't allowed to even be used. So, everything was dry, and it was an inferno. They created an inferno. So we're demanding that they turn the valve back toward Los Angeles right now. It's not even believable that they haven't done it. Just so you know, they have a valve, and it turns like, think of a sink, but multiply it times many thousands of times the size of it. It's massive. And you turn it back toward Los Angeles. Why aren't they doing it? They either have a death wish, they're stupid, or there's something else going on that we don't understand. But we want the water that they're throwing away to be used for California. And that includes the farmers of California. When you drive up north, you see all of the land. I couldn't believe it. I was with Devin Nunes when he was a congressman and some other congressmen from the area, and we're driving up and we're on the highway, and I keep looking at these farms, and the land is bone dry, and then you'd see about an acre or 2 acres, with the most beautiful green plants growing in it, the most beautiful, it's rich stuff. And you look at the soil, and it's so rich. That soil is almost the equivalent to like Iowa soil. It's phenomenal. It's got no water. But the reason it has no water, I said, do you have a drought? No. I said, what do you mean you don't have a drought? Look at the thing. It's dry as a bone. The reason you have like an acre is because they say you can farm 1 acre, but no more, because they didn't want to waste water. But they throw the water into the Pacific Ocean. These people are crazy. So we're going to be issuing an executive order demanding that they immediately let that water come down through California. Farmers, even people living in Beverly Hills. Now, those people have been a lot of them are wiped out, believe it or not. They were having restrictions, Larry, you know about this. They wanted to restrict you to 38 gallons of water a day. That sounds like a lot, but it's not. When you're a rich person and you like to take a shower, 38 gallons doesn't last very long. And they have all this water, and it's really good water. Up high, Pacific Northwest. Some comes in from Canada, a nice country, by the way. Comes in from Canada, and it comes all the way through California, and they're restricting it. You even have the half pipes, the half pipes, the cut pipes, big ones, bigger than this room. And they're going all the way down, and they're bone dry, and they could be loaded up with water. No, but isn't it incredible that they don't do it? And it's to protect the Delta smelt. It's a fish that's doing poorly anyway. But I said, how are you protecting the Delta smelt by not giving it water? It's a fish.
Dog.
It needs water. Nobody can answer that question. Well, let me do this first.
Are you open to Elon on TikTok? Are you open to Elon on TikTok?
I don't
I
think
would be if he
Elon's
wanted to
gonna
buy
be
it.
around long. It's just
I'd
no
like
way.
Larry to buy it too.
It's no way.
I have the right to make a deal.
Elon can.
So the deal I'm
stick
thinking
around.
about, Larry, let's negotiate in front of the media.
It's too. The
deal, I
egos are
think,
too
is this,
big.
and I've met with
The egos
owners
are
of
way
TikTok,
too big.
The big owners. It's worthless if it doesn't get a permit. It's not like, oh, you can take the U.S. The whole thing is worthless. With a permit, it's worth like $1 trillion. So what I'm thinking about saying to somebody is buy it and give half to the United States of America, half, and we'll give you the permit. And they'll have a great partner, the United States. And they'll have something that's actually more valuable because they have the ultimate partner, and the United States will make it very worthwhile for them in terms of the permits and everything else. But so think of it, you have an asset that has no value or has $1 trillion value. It all depends on whether or not the United States gives the permit. So what I'm saying is let the United States give the permit, and the United States should get half. Sounds reasonable. What do you think?
Sounds like a good deal to me, Mr. President.
Yeah, he can afford it too.
Elon. I don't think the
Your
Elon,
president has long said
the
in his
bromance
past
is gonna
that
last that
sending the
long at
message
all.
That assaulting officers is okay.
Oh yes, he got back in there. He asking again. Look at Trump's face. Look at his fucking face. He is pissed. Dude is asking that question again.
He can afford it too.
Mr. President, you're a president who has long said that you back the blue, but aren't you sending the message that assaulting officers
He got
is
back in
okay with these pardons?
Yo, that face is priceless. Look at the anguish. He is pissed.
Back the blue, but aren't you sending the message that assaulting officers is okay with these pardons?
No, the opposite. In fact, I'm going to be
The
letting two
opposite.
officers from Washington Police, D.C. I believe they're from D.C., but I just approved it. They were arrested, put in jail for 5 years because they went after an.
See, Steve and Stefan, I'm not sure. I don't know anything about like those fires. All I understand is that it's something that just happens in California. I don't know the cause. I get they say it's dry, and I guess maybe if something as simple as smoking a cigarette or barbecuing maybe can spark a fire. I don't know, but I do know that climate change is a thing, and to my understanding, this was predicted just because of the way the weather is out there. And I guess, like you said, how dry it is, and if y'all have those droughts and stuff like that. And I'm saying y'all, I can't say, I don't know where you're at, but that they have those droughts and stuff, that this was just an accident waiting to happen. And I think that maybe there's something to say about not being prepared, but they blame it on Democrats solely. And I don't know, I don't know if you're a Democrat, it's your fault. I don't know. It's just weird. It's so weird. I just think that's ridiculous. I don't know what went wrong that it got this bad. I don't know if it was preventable or not, but I don't think there's no world where natural disasters happen and I'm blaming a political party for it. That's just insane to me. I've never ever felt like when the grid in Texas went down, I didn't just say that's Republicans' fault. Even if it's some form of leadership fault, my mind doesn't go there immediately. I just think, well, what went wrong? I don't just say, oh, that country's red, it's their fault. Like, that's not my mindset. Like, the shit is weird that they do.
Illegal, and I guess something happened where something went wrong, and they arrested the two officers and put them in jail for going after a criminal, a rough criminal, by the way. And I'm actually releasing. No, I am the friend of police more than any president that's ever been in.
Oh
this
yeah,
office.
yeah. When it happened in Florida, it was Democrats' fault too, because we. I'm saying we because I'm liberal, but I'm not a Democrat. But yes, when the hurricane happened, we control the weather.
More than
President
400 of the people that you pardoned, though, assaulted officers. So I want to ask you about the Vice President, J.D. Vance. He said, this is a week ago, he said, if you committed violence on January 6th, obviously you should not be pardoned.
How can he confront this? His own VP, I saw this. He said, if you did violence on January 6th, you're not getting a pardon. Trump pardoned everybody from January 6th. Let's see how he answered this question. We know it won't be like an accountable adult human being, but let's see.
Pardon. Why is your Vice President wrong?
Well, only for one reason. They've served years in jail. They should not have served.
They served years in jail. How many years do you think is acceptable for gouging out a police officer's eye, or getting their fingers amputated, or causing them so much distress that they had to end their existence in the following days or weeks, or I don't know how much time had passed, but some of these people ended their existence. How much time do you think that they deserve? All of it, and it's all because of a lie that you told, sir. Trump, I'm not trying to be too what's the word? Too grotesque. I don't know the word, but I'm not morbid. I don't want to be too morbid. But Trump single-handedly caused a significant amount of lives to be lost by his own actions. I don't know if y'all think about this sometimes, but this man on his own has caused a lot of lives to end simply because of stuff that he did not have to engage in. Ashley Babbitt would be alive right now if he didn't lie about January 6th. Those police officers that had to retire early or no longer with us would be here if he didn't lie about January 6th. The man that lost his life at his rally would be alive if he wasn't just this divisive, just lying individual in power. Like, it's just so many things that he's the root cause of, and people just support it anyway. Like, and I'm not saying other presidents haven't caught. Appreciate you, Lance, for sliding.
Welcome back, Weenie.
Thank you. This first time I seen you in here, big dog. No one bigger than the law, else you have a man do things like this. Or Biden pardoning his son, I don't know. The thing, I'm not mad at Biden pardoning his son. I'm not mad at, if you got a problem with pardons, then you don't like pardons. But I don't care about Biden pardoning his son, especially when we live in a Trump era. A lot of these unprecedented things are happening because of Trump. Like, how can you be mad at Biden for the pardons he did when Trump is literally coming into office like, I'm coming after everybody that went against me, even though I committed crimes? Like, come on. Like, he's unhinged. He's saying DEI needs to go. No birthright citizenship. Only one flag. If you're Mexican, you gotta go. Like, it's just all this crazy shit is going on, but everybody's like, Biden, what are you doing? And it's like, bro, how long can Democrats sit there and get fucked over until they gotta play the game, the cards they dealt? Niggas wouldn't be moving like this if Trump wasn't moving like this. I think Biden pardoned his son simply because he lost, because he wasn't in the running no more. I think if he would have ran, he wouldn't have did it. But even if not, the charges on his son was just not worth being in jail. You know, by him doing well, you can, because Trump set the standard. If you came to a fight thinking you finna box and that person brings a gun, what you supposed to be like? Well, I got my hands. Like, what are you supposed to do? Like, I don't think you're wrong for bringing a gun to a gunfight. Like, you don't just continue to box somebody that has a gun. Like, that's not fair, and it doesn't make sense. And you can't survive unless you play by the rules, the hand that you're dealt. Now, when they put their gun down, then you put your gun down. But Biden and the Democrats didn't set this standard. Trump committed crimes and then lied to everybody, and they believed him, and he never took accountability for his actions. And now we're sitting here trying to tell people that this is the reality, and they're like, no, everybody's against Trump. He's not that bad. Oh, it's a witch hunt. No, he committed crimes.
And they've served years in jail. and murderers don't even go to jail in this country.
And look, you see what I'm saying? You say shit like the president's saying shit like this. Murderers don't go to jail. The man, this is the second time this man said, why are you pardoning people that harmed police and you're saying murderers don't go to jail? That's not true, and I don't see how that's related to what he's asking you. So is the argument, if a murderer don't go to jail, nobody goes to jail? Is that the argument now? Tell me something, bro.
We had 1,500. We have 16 under review. As you know, we commuted about 16 of them because it looks like they could have done things that were not acceptable for.
That's not true. He released all them. He
full
released
pardon.
all of them.
But these people have served years of jail, and their lives have been ruined. And in many cases, listen to me for a second. Stop interrupting.
Yeah, he's mad because he's getting challenged. Just like that. Oh, we might watch that bishop that told him about himself at that service. We might watch that too. Anybody that tell him about himself, look how pissy he gets. Other politicians have been challenged, and unless the person's disrespectful, they don't disrespect them in like this. They just kind of be like, let me finish. You know what I'm saying? Even Kamala, like, she don't disrespect people. You know what I'm saying? Murderers don't go to jail, he says, as he pardons murderers. You feel me? Like, you literally pardoned a murderer in your last term. What are we talking about, bro?
Done things that were not acceptable for a full pardon.
Hey, that is crazy, Brickashaw. That's crazy. Like, I didn't even process it that way. Like, you pardon murderers and talking about we pardon the murderers saying they don't pardon. Murderers don't go to jail.
But these people have served years of jail, and their lives have been ruined. And in many cases,
it's just he only cares about them going to jail and their lives being murdered because they did it for him upon a lie he told. This is what I'm saying. He ruins people's lives. This is a cult. He's ruining people's lives. They don't know their lives being ruined, and simply because they did it for him, they're okay in his book. No matter the behavior, if it's in support of him, it's all good. I guarantee you there's no, I ain't even going to put it on Democrats. There's no other politician that if somebody did something heinous in the name of their personal self-interest as that politician, they would condemn them for their behavior. I don't see any other politician ever being okay with somebody doing something in the name of them that's unhinged, like harming the police because you lied about the vote. And if you lied and you think it's the truth, you don't need to be president because you're delusional.
16 of them because it looks like they could have done things that were not acceptable for a full pardon. But these people have served years of jail, and their lives have been ruined. And in many cases, listen to me for a second. Stop interrupting. They served years in jail, and if you look at the American public is tired of it. Take a look at the election. Just look at the numbers on the election. We won this election in a landslide because the American public is tired of people like you that are just.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna keep letting them say this landslide shit. I know it feel petty and like some sore loser shit, but they didn't win by a landslide. It was like a fucking 1% plurality of the vote. Like half the country didn't necessarily vote for Trump. Half the country voted for somebody that was not Trump. So it's not this landslide. This is not Reagan. Was it Reagan that fucking won every state but one? I think. Was it Reagan? Damn, I would hate to have gone against him in that. That's embarrassing. But this isn't that. Bro, you won the Electoral College and the popular vote. Yes. The Electoral College, I don't like the shit, but it is what it is. And you won all the swing states, sir. Yes. But as far as the votes, you didn't whoop Kamala ass in this way that was just unfathomable. Like, that didn't happen, bro. 1% is not, it's like the fourth smallest, it's like one of the top 5 smallest wins in all of presidential races.
Just one-sided, horrible people in terms of crime. You don't talk about all the people that have been killed and what happens to those murderers. Murderers get no time. You take a look at some of these DAs. They go after political opponents, but they don't go after people that shoot people in the street. They're caught. They know where they're living. They know everything. They don't even go up to pick them up anymore. They just let them live there. They know all about it. They have their pictures. They have the tape of the shooting, and they don't even go up and you're talking about this. No, we pardoned people that were treated unbelievably poorly. In the history of our country, there's never been anything take place like this. They're still looking for them, but they're not looking for the murderers, the people that are killing everybody.
Who is killing everybody? What are you talking about? Yeah, that's what they do. There's nothing specific. You're just saying shit. You're just saying shit.
We are, though, and we're getting them out of the country. We just started that. We're getting them out of the country.
Like, I love how he pretends like illegal immigrants are the biggest criminals in America. That's not true. You literally let out American criminals while trying to act like the problem is illegal immigrants committing crime, and they don't. You're like, if you want to lessen crime, deport Americans and bring in more immigrants. That's how you lessen crime. If you care about crime, y'all know I'm being facetious, but y'all know my point. The illegal immigrants aren't the crime committers in this country. If you want less crime, that's who you want to be here. If this is really what you care about.
Be gotten out of the country fast. They came in illegally from jails and from prisons. They killed many people. Some of them killed many people. About 50% of them killed more than one person. They were released into our country. That's what we're focused on, not the kind of nonsense you're talking about.
Look, he did this. You see, wait.
Some of them killed many people.
Some of them killed many people. There's not, fam, this detachment from reality is insane, bro. How did we get, I cannot, like I said this in a video, the Donald Trump documentary is gonna be one for the books. That documentary, they can't do it now because he's president, but about 2030, this documentary is going to be crazy, and every MAGA-tard, when they watch it, I just hope that we just come to a place where there's no more flat earthers, there's no more MAGA, there's no more anti-vaxxers, and everybody can realize that this is the misinformation age. The eras in time, 2016, 2015, to I hope at some point, even during his presidency, it happens. I'm gonna give it 2015 to about 2030 is the misinformation era, where people just cannot decipher reality from their delusions or their ability to get past how gullible they are. This is insane. That the president of the United States got elected and can sit up here and say murderers don't go to jail and illegal immigrants are killing everybody. Yes, if an illegal immigrant comes here, I need to stop saying undocumented immigrant. I don't want to say illegal. It sounds terrible. But an undocumented immigrant comes here and harms people, get them out of here. Nobody's arguing with this, but they don't act like there's this influx of them getting here. You want to act like it's a problem because it feels like such a huge violation, which it is, but it's not the real issue. If you care about violence, that's not the target. If your issue is violence, the target is not undocumented immigrants.
From jails and from prisons, they killed many people. Some of them killed many people. About 50% of them killed more than one person.
That's what I'm talking about. That's actually insane. And if you believe that, you're stupid. That doesn't make any sense. You're telling me that 50%, he said 15 or 50, either way is stupid. But I think he said 50% of undocumented people are killing people?
And they're going to be gotten out of the country fast. They came in illegally from jails and from prisons. They killed many people.
Oh, so people from jail. How many people? Wait. So you already been in jail. Obviously, if you're probably in jail, you probably are a crazy person. But how many people are from jail, got released, crossed the country, and then committed a violent crime? Like, come on, bro. Look how small of a demographic you're working with. Like, bro, that's like when people act like the trans athletes are ruining sports as if that's not a fraction of the population.
Some of them killed many people. About 50% of them killed more than one person. They were released into our country.
That could be a truth, but it's just such a terrible way of putting it when you're picking from such a small demographic of people. It's almost like saying like 50% of people with one arm are left-handed. It's like, well, is that hard to believe? How many people have one arm? My God.
What we're focused on, not the kind of nonsense you're talking about.
You called for a ceasefire in Ukraine. If Vladimir Putin doesn't come to the table to negotiate with you, will you put additional sanctions on Russia?
Sounds likely.
And do you think that the war should be frozen currently along
The war
with
should have never
timelines?
started. If you had a competent president, which you didn't, the war wouldn't have happened. the war in Ukraine would have
Yeah,
never
the president of the United States can control every other world leader and what they do, no matter what. Yeah.
happened if I were president. But that couldn't happen because the election was rigged. Yeah, go ahead.
Mr. President, there's been some debate within your orbit over whether or not to keep or eliminate H-1B visas. What's your position on that? Do you want to keep H-1Bs or do you want to get rid of them?
I like both sides of the argument, but I also like very competent people coming into our country, even if that involves them training and helping other people that may not have the qualifications they do. But I don't want to stop. And I'm not just talking about engineers. I'm talking about people at all levels. We want competent people coming into our country. And HB1, I know the program very well. I use the program. Maitre d's, wine, experts, even waiters, high quality waiters.
Bro, you're not getting waiters to be high quality in America. Get the fuck out of here. People are not using H-1B visas for a waiter. What are you? Oh my God.
You got to get the best people. Now, then you go into people like Larry.
I'm not saying you can't be a waiter and be the best, but you're not using a visa to be a waiter. That's not happening.
He needs engineers, and Massa needs, and this gentleman needs engineers like nobody's ever needed engineers, right?
Waiters with an
we have to have the quality
visa.
people coming in. Now, by doing that, we're expanding businesses, and that takes care of everybody. So I'm sort of on both sides of the argument, but what I really do feel is that we have to let really competent people, great people come into our country, and we do that through the H-1 program.
Mr. President, are you looking to impose tariffs on Canada and Mexico in an effort to force negotiations sooner on USMCA?
No, it's really not on USMCA. It has nothing to do with that. They've allowed both of them, Canada very much so.
Right.
They've allowed millions
It's like if we don't follow Trump, then nothing happens. Like, I guess fuck Congress, fuck the Supreme Court. Trump is the ruler of all. If you are Trump or you are loyal to Trump, then we trust you. That's it. If you disagree with Trump on 1% of things, you're out.
And millions of people to come into our country that shouldn't be here. They could have stopped them, and they didn't. And they've killed 300,000 people last year. Might have stopped them. Very much so. They've allowed millions and millions of. They've allowed.
I don't know what
tariffs on Canada and Mexico.
And we do that through the
missed the
H-1
question.
program.
Mr. President, are you looking to impose tariffs on Canada and Mexico in an effort to force negotiations sooner on USMCA?
No, it's really not on USMCA. It has nothing to do with that. They've allowed both of them. Canada very much so. They've allowed millions.
Now Canada's let millions of people in and killed people. What is this world? Like, can I go to Hogwarts, please? Like, what is happening?
Millions and millions of people to come into our country that shouldn't be here. They could have stopped them, and they didn't.
Millions of
and they've
people came
killed
here from Canada.
300,000 people last year,
And
my opinion.
So now Canada is rampant with violent murderers. Oh my God.
Have been destroyed by drugs, by fentanyl. The fentanyl coming through Canada is massive. The fentanyl coming through Mexico is massive. And people are getting killed and families are being destroyed. I mean, the son gets killed and the family is a basket case for the rest of their lives. I mean, I've
Who
seen.
are you talking about? What for the son? Who are you talking about? You're just making something up. What family? Why are you saying this? That's not something that's just a story that a bunch of people can relate to. I'm sorry. There's a lot of people that can relate to losing a child. But in this context of what he's saying, somebody came from Canada, brought fentanyl, their son got on it, and his life ended. That's not a story people can relate to. And then if they do lose somebody to fentanyl, they're not saying those dang on Canada drug dealers. What?
Mothers that thought they'd heal. They never heal. They say it gets worse with time. It gets worse with time. They lose their boy. They lose their baby. They lose their young daughter to fentanyl poisoning. And I had that talk with President.
I don't know if I've never experienced that, but from the people I know, I've never heard it gets worse with time. From people that have lost people, I am of the belief that time heals all wounds. Time heals all wounds. And there's no set time to that. But over time, it should get better, no matter what the wound is.
President Xi the other day, too, of China. I said, we don't want that crap in our country. We got to stop it. I would have stopped
If
it.
you're doing the
I had
work
a deal
to
with
patch
him
it.
where he was going to give the maximum penalty, which in China is the death penalty for drug dealing. And he was all said he was going to give the maximum penalty to fentanyl dealers. If they sent to the United States, they were going to get the death penalty. And of course, Biden didn't pick that up. I had that deal all done. It was all wrapped up. We were going to have it done. And then the election went, let's put it nicely, it didn't go the proper way. I'm trying to be nice about it. It was rigged. And we had an incompetent president elected, and he never followed up on that deal. But he should have followed up, because if they got the death penalty, they wouldn't be sending fentanyl to Mexico, Canada, and other places.
Mr. President, how much will the
We're thinking about that too. We're talking about a tariff of 10% on China based on the fact that they're sending fentanyl to Mexico and Canada.
Like, where's he getting this information? Like, there's never any like substance to the claims he make. It's just words. He's laying the ground to put pressure on Canada so they would do whatever he wants in the future, whatever that might be. Yeah, first of all, he doesn't know what he want. Kim and M, appreciate you for sliding. Thank you. Like, it's like all these words with no substance back behind them. You're just saying it. Who the hell ever thought about Canada sending fentanyl? And even if that's the case, these people are Americans going to get the shit. These countries aren't trying to infect us with drugs. Americans are going to get this shit. He's acting like Americans in themselves don't commit these crimes. Like, bro, what the hell?
How soon on those tariffs?
Probably February 1st is the date we're looking at. For Mexico and China, we're talking about approximately 25%.
February 1st. I should have been doing this right now. I gotta start it. I'm making a running list of his executive orders and whatever policies get passed from him during his presidency. I'm gonna make a running list of it. And I need to put every single policy and executive order he's put in and probably the dates he do it and stuff, just to see if we can attach it to an effect of that in the future. So, yep. I don't want to hear any conservative or Republican trying to act like Trump isn't the reason for whatever we have to deal with in the future.
Are you planning to travel to the Middle East soon?
We're thinking about going to the Middle East, not yet. We have a thing called the hostages are coming back going on right now, and they are coming back. Some of them have been very damaged. You look at the young lady with her hand practically blown off. You know how that happened, right?
Yeah, but you don't care about but you don't care about the police officers that lost their finger on January 6th, right? Because you pardon all those people, right? Yeah.
Find out, you're not going to be too happy because it was terrible. But the hostages are starting to come back. If I weren't here, they wouldn't be back ever. They would have never come back. They would have all died. If this were done a year earlier, if Biden would have done this deal a year and a half, 2 years ago, or frankly, it should have never happened. October 7th should have never happened. Nobody should be dead. But through weakness, they allowed it.
Nobody should be dead, including Ashley Babbitt. You don't, but you're the cause of that, or the police officers that harmed themselves after the fact. I'm not gonna. I think Kamala had so many cards stacked against her. Don't forget, Hillary won a popular vote. I don't think we're beyond I don't think a female president is never gonna happen. Hillary won a popular vote, so I don't think but Kamala, she had the woman, she had the black. I think if she wasn't black, I think Kamala probably would have won if she wasn't black, to be honest. I hate to say it. I do think Kamala would have won if she wasn't black, which is fucked up. But she was woman, she was black. She's and Joe Biden fucked it up for her. If she was gonna run for president, he ruined it because he shouldn't have ran again. Joe Biden shouldn't have run again. And if he was going to run again, he should have stopped sooner than he did. He did it because of that damn debate performance. He had to back down. It was too many things stacked against her. That's all. He said this. No, I agree with DEI. I don't agree with the way they perceive it. Like I feel like I can't defend it because of the way they act about it. But in what its intention and implementation is, I think that DEI is great, but they presented it as something that is really not. That doesn't really mean much. You know, Joe Biden ran for president numerous times. You know what I'm saying? I don't think it matters that she wasn't popular in 2020 because literally from Biden to her, the excitement was through the roof. And it's not like, again, remember, she didn't lose by much against Trump. It was like a couple, I don't even know if it was 2 million. I could be wrong. I got to look again, but it's not that many votes, like individual people that voted for her in mass. So there's a world Kamala could have won. There's a world where she could have won. So if Kamala was as unpopular in 2020 as 2024, it would have been another Reagan. And I hope I'm still saying the right president where he won 49 states. I think this was Reagan though, or maybe it was Nixon. I don't remember. It was one of them two. Whoever got 49 states. But she didn't, 2020, she was not popular. Yes, I agree. But there's a world she could have won. It's just she had so many things going against her. And I think if she had even more time to campaign, it would have helped a lot. She didn't have as much. She did a 3-month campaign. Trump been campaigning for 8 years. If DEI is not about unqualified people, it's about how you select from the qualified people. Thank you. That's all it is. No, she got a lot of viewers. I'm going to just say Stephen. I'm sorry. I don't know. I hope it's Stephen. But yes, exactly. DEI is just picking diverse groups from people that meet the requirements that you need. That's all. It's not about picking people off the street because you meet a diversity requirement. But she got fewer votes because more people voted because it was easier in 2020. The COVID is an anomaly, so more people had the opportunity to vote, and they sent people ballots that didn't even ask for them. Like people was just getting ballots, so it was easier to vote, and more people voted because they didn't have to do. It wasn't much effort to, and I think more people even than Trump claims is frustrated now. More people was frustrated now. I mean, then with his behavior with COVID versus this inflation stuff with Joe Biden, which people just attribute to him, which I don't even blame COVID fully on Trump. He mishandled it, but it's not blatant, flat out his fault. But people treat the inflation rate as if it's Joe Biden's fault. All this is unfair. Like I try to keep my critiques balanced, but Trump is so egregious in a lot of his stuff. It becomes to a point where it's like, I can't even give y'all any slack for your critiques of Joe Biden because whatever you critique Joe Biden on, Trump has done it in spades.
To happen, and then it was a disaster from them. But you go back just 6 months ago, many of these young people were living. You know, young people don't die like that. They're just dying. And young people aren't dying at 22 and 23 years old. They don't die. But now they're dying, and you wonder why they're dying. They're being killed. And they have been killed. But they say 6 months ago, you would have had 11 more living hostages. Think of that. 6 months ago. But Biden couldn't get it done. And it was only the imposition that I put on as a deadline that got it done. But it's a very sad situation. It should have never happened. I'll tell you 2 things should have never happened. 3 things. Inflation should have never happened.
The brick show, yep. Exactly right. And I said that. I think I said it in my Nelly video. I said it in the video. I said the same thing. I said nobody, despite us doing better than everybody, nobody feels that way. But there's not another multiverse where we can see what it's like if we was in one of those other countries' situation where we feel shittier. So all you know is what you feel. You don't care about the numbers, which is fair. I get it. But that just shows people's lack of understanding civics, that I feel bad, so something's wrong, which ain't necessarily a bad thing, but where you place your blame is where you need to think about what you're doing. Because as much as you feel like it's Joe Biden's fault because he was president, most of the effects of what's happening is not Joe Biden's fault. And the alternative to his VP, Trump, isn't proposing anything to fix any of this. Because if y'all remember, the man was just saying, I'm going to make grocery prices go down. And then when directly asked, so what are you going to do to make grocery prices go down? The man says, I can't guarantee that. I can't guarantee tomorrow. I don't know. I can't make the prices go down. Why on earth did you say that? I knew he couldn't do that, but he said it and people, I guess, believed it, even though Kamala was directly telling you ways she can make life better for people. I'm not going to say make grocery prices go down, but she had literal proposals that you could follow as a layman that don't follow politics, which kind of makes sense to where life could be maybe a little bit better for you. But Trump saying tariff, 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 which inherently makes life more expensive, they said they're going to vote anyway. Go figure. I don't understand. Young people don't die in 2025. Trump 20. Fam, because what the hell? That's what's like, what are you talking about? You're not supposed to die young. Yes, you're not supposed to die young, but we know this. No, yeah, facts. If Trump would have won again, that would have been terrible. That would have been terrible. The man, like, he put the fact that this, the reason you can't blame COVID on Trump, of course, but if you just simply, the man was saying, "Oh, it'll be gone. It's not a big deal." Blah blah blah. All that, and then look what happened. I know a lot of it. Come on. Hey, Kim. Hey, man, what? Shout out to you, Kim. Yes, for the like. Appreciate the support, fam. Thank you. I know a lot of people had a hard time during COVID, but I feel like people was exaggerating the effects. People act like we was literally locked in our homes. I saw more people. Yeah, like, people act like there was a cop outside saying, "Don't go here." Like, a lot of establishments did close, but they did that because they weren't getting business, because people weren't going outside. You're right. People acted like you just was barred from humanity. People was having kids. But the thing is, people was like, "Hey, we having a COVID party at my house." People was getting sick and shit like that. But you know what I'm saying? COVID was bad and good. Like, it sucked that people lost money, people lost jobs, people got displaced. A lot of bad things happened. But I do miss some of that shit, being with my family and close friends and hanging out. And I will admit I'm an anomaly. I got lucky. I had 2 jobs at the time, which both paid me without working. That PPP came through the jobs I had 2 jobs, both paid me for not working during the majority of COVID. And then we got the stimulus. So that was great for what it was. Wish I started YouTube then. But, we here now, and I'm here because of y'all, and I love y'all, man.
And it would have never happened except for what they did to energy and their crazy spending. And Ukraine would have never happened. Never. By the way, Russia never would have gone into Ukraine. I had a very strong understanding with Putin that it would have never, ever happened. He disrespected Biden. Very simple. He disrespects people.
Who disrespects people? Do you say Biden disrespects people? Nigga, what?
Never would have gone into Ukraine. I had a very strong understanding with Putin that it would have never, ever happened. He disrespected Biden. Very simple. He disrespects people. He's smart. He understands. He disrespected Biden. And also, the Middle East would have never happened because Iran was broke. They had no money. They had no money for Hamas. They had no money for Hezbollah. It would have never happened.
Right,
October 7th would have never happened. But it did happen. So this is the cards I've been given. And we're getting the hostages back. That would have never happened under Biden. They would have never come back. They were just dying.
I love how he was acting like he came in to handle shit for everything wrong with America. And now you're in here sitting here talking about renaming the Gulf of Mexico. Bro, I don't give a fuck about the Gulf. I forgot the Gulf of Mexico existed. I don't care about that shit. Why do you think I care about that? Are you kidding me?
Not that slowly. They were dying or being killed. But that was what was happening.
Are you going to keep sending weapons to Ukraine, or are you going to turn off the tap soon?
Well, we're looking at that. We're talking to Zelensky. We're going to be talking with President Putin very soon, and we'll see how it all happens. We're going to look at it very soon. One thing I do feel, the European Union should be paying a lot more than they're paying.
And I ain't gonna lie though, I will say, my wife is in education, and the COVID babies, there's a difference. Like I'm forgetting so many words. The development of the COVID babies is noticeable. The development of the COVID babies is noticeable, and it is sad to see. But it was one of them situations that's unprecedented, and everybody was just doing the best they could. Wait, what you referring to, D-Nice? I don't know what you said all my life too. What part you was laughing at? The Gulf of Mexico, I'm assuming the Gulf of Mexico shit.
Under Biden, I mean, we're in there for $200 billion more. Now, it affects them more than it affects us. We have an ocean in between, right? Little thing called an ocean. The European Union should equalize. We're in there for $200 billion more than the European Union. I mean, what are we, stupid? I guess the answer is yes, because they must think so. But the European Union takes advantage of us tremendously on trade, and they now take advantage of, and always have. If I didn't get involved years ago, my first term, one of the first things I noticed was that they're not paying enough. They're not paying. And a lot of those countries weren't even paying, the NATO countries. They
Yeah,
weren't paying.
bro.
Only
Shit
7 out of
goofy as
28
hell.
were paying. We were one of them. And Poland was one. And they had a few of them that were paying, and some were paying very proudly. Usually the closer to the borderline of Russia they were, the faster they paid, okay? The ones that were further away tended not to pay so fast. And one thing on that, I think they should lift their number not to 2%, but to 5%. NATO should be at 5%, not at 2%. 2% is ridiculous, yeah.
You asked President Xi in your conversation about Ukraine, you asked him to get involved in
Yeah.
helping settle that. Can you tell us
I
about
did,
that?
yeah. I said, you ought to get it settled because he's not done very much on that. He's got a lot of power, like we have a lot of power. I said, you ought to get it settled. We did discuss it, yeah.
Do you intend to continue selling products that benefit yourself personally while you're president?
Yes.
Well, I don't know if it.
Yeah, he's fucking got a meme coin, and people, I guess he made billions within a day with the meme coin.
benefited. I don't know where it is. I don't know much about it other than I launched it. I heard it was very successful. I haven't checked it. Where is it today?
You made a lot of money, sir.
How much?
Several $1 billion, it seems like, in the last several days.
Several billion? That's peanuts for these guys.
What, that little ass joke, boy, no. He asked you, how do you think it's ethical to make money while being president? Especially that much kind of money. And now you're talking about, oh, billions, that's nothing to them. What the fuck that got to do with you being president making billions of dollars? What the hell are we talking about? And you're right, Scott Sisters. I swear, like, it's like you said, it's like, it would be funny if it wasn't so, like, unbelievable that people said, yes, I want this person to be my president.
President Biden, can you give us some sense, broadly speaking?
Yeah, he wrote me a nice.
You're right. We're not doing most of it. Yes, Brickshaw, that's exactly you put it the perfect way. If we backed out, they'll still have more.
Letter. I mean, I did open it.
They'll be fine if we backed out. But it's about more than that, of course. Hey, thank you, Scott Sisters. Appreciate you. Thank you.
Last night. And I didn't know. Peter said, did you get the letter? I said, wait a minute, let's see the letter. It's sort of a tradition. You put it in the drawer, especially of the beautiful Resolute desk, right? And I opened the drawer, and there it was. It said to number 47. And it was a very nice letter. I mean, I could show it because I think it was a nice letter. Maybe I will. I think just basically it was a little bit of an inspirational type letter, you know, enjoy it, do a good job. Important, very important, how important the job is. But I think it was a nice letter. I think I should let people see it because it was a positive for him in writing it. I appreciated the letter.
Mr. President, were security concerns at all a factor when deciding to move your inauguration indoors?
No, not at all. No.
You a goddamn lie. You a lie. I don't believe you. And it's okay. Like, you literally got shot at. That's okay if you went inside for security purposes. Like, we all seen Scandal. No, it's a joke. But, like, it's okay. Like, they say it's because of, granted, I don't know what the temperature was in D.C. I don't know. But to my understanding, it was pretty freaking cold. But that's not unprecedented. Like, we know that it's cold out there. You know what I'm saying? Oh, yeah. Brickshaw, yeah, Brickshaw, yeah, you're right. You're gonna fall. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, exactly. Hey, like, thank you, Kim. I appreciate you. I really appreciate that. I hope so, man. I hope so. It's seeming like the more people get in tune, they rocking with me. I hope so. And you came as, I ain't gonna call you a detractor, but you was ready for the smoke and you still support it. So I think that goes a long way. If you're gonna do a TikTok, don't stick to it because we don't know the end. So if you do a TikTok, do you a YouTube or an IG with it. Don't rely on TikTok because we don't know what's gonna happen. Shit, my cap cut got gone. I'm still gonna keep Da Vinci just in case. But I need my cap cut.
Not at all. It was just cold. Hey, look, if we would have, I just went out to the helicopter, right, we said goodbye. That's a tradition. As long as before it used to be a stagecoach, and then helicopters came along. But that's been a tradition. You go out and you do that. And we stood there for 10 minutes, and I'll tell you what, people wouldn't.
That is a good way to look at it, Scott Sisters, because it's like, yeah, maybe we're not third world, but it's like, what are we going to be? I don't know. I don't even know. Like you said, an oligarchy is forming in our faces and everybody's like, yay. Like, for especially people on the right, like you would think that people on the left will rejoice. They want to compare Elon Musk to George Soros as if George Soros was ever as impactful as Elon Musk. I didn't even know that man existed until the people on the right said something about him. And I assume most people on the left didn't either. But everybody on the left and the right knows who Elon Musk was before he decided to suck Trump's dick. And now he's sucking it more than anybody Melania could ever dream of since the last time she probably ever touched him. And now y'all like, yay, he's in the White House with Trump. These people have no principles. It's all what benefits me. There's no world where if Mark Zuckerberg was in the Oval Office with Kamala or Biden where I'd be like, yeah, like this is great. That's just not a thought I have. I would question the fuck out of it. Like, why is one of the richest people in America, like full blown in politics? It's one thing to support a candidate, but the way Elon has gone about it, that's weird. I don't, especially because he's lies too. I don't want like somebody with that much power to just be like full blown. Like I said, I never heard of George Soros until the right brought him up. Elon Musk is a public figure that makes his political stance known to the world. This shit is crazy, dog.
Not have been able to get through that day. That was cold. It was sort of interesting. Don't let the sun
Ricochet,
fool you.
I appreciate you. I seen you was commenting on the videos and stuff. Yeah, like I got the pop was the Lord Jamar video, so I just hope everybody stick around because I don't only do flat earth reactions. I do a lot of reactions to a lot of stuff. So I hope people stick around for the other content because it was the Lord Jamar one that went crazy.
Tell me something. Sunny days can get very cold.
Yeah,
can't they? 'Cause
D-Nice. Yeah, I was mad because I was loving Vine. And Vine, I don't even know if Vine made it 2 years, man. That was terrible. Since the reboot, don't trust it, don't recommend, moving all content somewhere else. Damn, yeah, to my understanding, it seemed like TikTok, it seems like the algorithm is just not what it was. I don't know. Like, I don't use TikTok, so I don't know. But when I saw it was back, I checked in and I was like, this is like a watered down TikTok or something. His cars had electrical fires. Thank you, Kim. Yeah, I will admit I'm biased. I lean left. I'm liberal, but I'm not like oblivious to facts. I don't ignore facts. I don't disregard good points. I don't hear people out. You know what I'm saying? I'm not ignorant to other people's experiences and emotions. I don't discard it. You know what I'm saying? But I do have my opinions and my biases, of course. But I'm not going to pretend like there aren't valid rationale on the other side. Trump is unacceptable to, I think, anybody that gives a fuck about democracy or this country. I don't give a fuck what your political leaning is. Trump is unacceptable. I don't give a fuck.
that was so freezing yesterday. You couldn't have gotten through it. It would have been. And the answer is no, it wasn't security. With that being said, I thought the Capitol, the Rotunda.
Yeah, I'm not hey, damn. I'm not saying you assumed I was an incel, but yeah, I guess it's like you don't know till you know. Yeah, I don't know if that's, you see, I got my kids stuff. Like I got to share this room with my kids. You feel me? You know what I'm saying? Like I got my kids. They do they thing in here sometimes. So yeah, I ain't no. I'm just not a dude on YouTube that's just talking out his ass. I have real life experience. You know what I'm saying?
It was beautiful. 72 degrees, unbelievable sound. You know, it's like being in an opera house. I could see people wanting to do it there rather than outside.
Why did you remove John Bolton's security
I am 34.
clearance, sir?
Because I think that was enough time. It's we take a job. You take a job. You want to do a job. We're not going to have security on people for the rest of their lives. Why should we? I thought he was a very
Stefan,
dumb
what you
person, but I
referring to?
used him well because every time people saw me come into a meeting with John Bolton standing behind me, they thought that he'd attack them because he was a warmonger. He's the one that got us involved, along with Cheney and a couple of others, convinced Bush, which was a terrible decision, to blow up the Middle East. You know, we blew up the Middle East and we left.
All right, we're done with this guy. I'm sorry. Yeah, I was more entertained talking to y'all. I was more entertained talking to y'all. Tired millennial. Hey, millennials, check in. Millennials, check in. Yeah, we here. We tired of the bullshit. Like you said, I'm a tired millennial on me. I feel that. No, Stephanie, yeah. That's what I was like. I hope she didn't assume I was an incel. But, you know, some of these people on the internet, you never know. But I don't feel like I ever gave off an incel vibe at all. Like, I ain't gonna lie. I'm not trying to, like, gas myself. But I don't feel like I ever gave off an incel vibe. But you never know. You know, people definitely give off impressions that don't really exist. Like, I don't know if y'all know who Fresh and Fit. Myron act like he's this masculine alpha male that I think was really just this soft, insecure guy. Hey, checking in, millennials. Hey. I got my millennials in here. Yeah, that's why y'all relate, man. That's why y'all here. We all going through the same strife. All right, so this is gonna probably boil my blood because Tim Pool is the dumbest, most ignorant, but most. This is like the Lord Jamar of conservatives. Like he's so confident, he's so arrogant, but doesn't know shit. Like Tim Pool. It's one thing to have opinions. Like you can have an opinion and be uninformed. The good old days. You told me your age. I forgot exactly what it was, but you wasn't that far off from me. Talking about the good old days. You're not even that far off from 34. Right? You talking about good old days. Tim Pool will sit here and talk for hours about shit that he just never looked into and just act like he's this well-informed. Damn, I'm sorry, y'all. Excuse me. This well-informed commentator, but knowing he didn't look at shit. So I'm probably finna get crazier off of this than Trump. You ain't never thought we was the same age, G. I thought we been had that conversation, bro. Ain't no way. I thought we been had that. I gotta fix my chat. It's not fun. This isn't the intent of my chat, y'all. I updated it, but I don't think it's gonna change till the next time I get on here. But this is not how I want my chat to look. It's not that appealing right now. I'm gonna get that together though. My apologies.
Ladies and gentlemen,
shut up. That was out of your ear. Old millennial, you still a millennial, and you still not old. Like I said, I don't remember the exact age you told me you was, but I know it was not that far off from me. Maybe I'm tripping, but I didn't think it was an incel, but it just be people that live in such a bubble. Oh, I feel you. What life you do? What's with the black word? Yeah, bro. It's supposed to be white because it's like it's not hard to read, but it doesn't stand out as much, and I don't know why that happened. I don't know why. It's blowing me, bro. Tim Pool is every bitch a soft white dude in my cohort in grad school. Oh shit! Hey, yo, and it pisses me off too, because Tim Pool be always talking about I'm from the South Side of Chicago. I need to look into that because what South Side you from? You ain't from the hundreds. Like I don't know. Like what South? I feel like I'm from the suburbs of Chicago. I say Chicago because people that's not from Chicago don't know the suburbs. But I guarantee that I don't know. But if the way Tim's mannerisms and the way he speaks, I can't just say that. But just nothing about Tim gives me South Side of Chicago, even if you're white. That's what I'm trying to say. He claims the South Side of Chicago, and I feel like he's probably from the South suburbs of Chicago. I'm from the South suburbs of Chicago, but I'm like from the neighboring city to Chicago, and it's just like I don't know how much I buy into his South Side of Chicago narrative. I will never say I'm from the South Side of Chicago. When people that's not from Chicago, if you're from Chicago, I'm gonna tell you exactly where I'm from. People that's not from Chicago, you don't know our suburbs, but so I'm just gonna tell them Chicago because it's easier. That's what everybody does. I'm from Atlanta, and they know they from not Atlanta and all that shit. So you know what I'm saying? I'm from Detroit, even though they know they neighbor in Detroit. Y'all know how that go. But did you get a tech degree? Because I can't figure out even email. Girl, come on now. You ain't that old now. My mama even know how to use her email now. Don't do that, Kim. Don't do that. You know how to use a damn email. Oh, see what I'm talking about? Get the fuck out of here. You ain't that damn old. Like, my mama know how to use an email. You know how to use an email. I understood the Discord confusion. Discord is a lot. Discord is a lot, especially if you're not like tech savvy. Discord's a lot. But you know how to use an email. I ain't got no tech degree, but I've been doing like internet computer shit since I was younger. Like I was on AOL Messenger and shit, and I was using Windows Movie Maker and shit like that. I was making movies. Yeah, Tim Pool be talking about, yeah, I'm from the south side of Chicago. I'm like, I can't, even for being white, I just don't believe that. I want to know the exact city he lived in or whatever street if he was on the south side for real.
Ladies and gentlemen, Trump pardons roughly 1,500 criminal defendants charged in the January 6th Capitol attack.
I don't know. Okay, I recognize 1, 2, 3, 4 faces. The Russian ass said, dude, yeah. This is, you see the title, Tim Russia Pool. Yeah, this is him. I recognize 1, 2. I don't know this guy's name, but I know he's like part of Tim Pool's crew and he's right leaning. Don't know this guy. Oh, I'm sorry, I can't see my mouse. The guy above Tim Pool, I don't know his name. I don't know the guy above him. This is the redheaded libertarian on the top right. Don't know this middle guy on the right. Bottom right is Ro Khanna, which is a Democratic politician. I don't know what his position is or he's running for or whatever, but
the sweeping pardons would mark the beginning.
There's one person, well, for certain there's one person on the left in this panel. I don't know these 2 other people.
Of the end of one of the largest investigations in FBI history. They say that President Donald Trump said on Monday that he was issuing roughly 1,500 pardons and commuting the sentences of 6 of his supporters in connection with the J6 2021 attack on the U.S. Capitol, when thousands of them stormed the building amid his false claims that the 2020 presidential election was rigged against him. He made the remarks after returning to the White House Monday evening. An attorney for Enrique Tarrio, the Proud Boy leader convicted of seditious conspiracy, told NBC News on Monday that his client was being processed for release from FCI Pollock, a medium security federal prison in Louisiana. Tarrio is serving 22 years in federal prison after being convicted of seditious conspiracy. He is being processed out. Now,
if you an hour from Chicago, you can't claim Chicago. I'm sorry. Like, it's some suburbs that can't say Chicago. It's some suburbs where you tell outsiders I'm from Chicago, and then there's some suburbs that some outsiders can't claim Chicago because you just have, you're not, no. Some is not acceptable. An hour out from Chicago, you can't say Chicago.
There's a viral tweet that I believe it's from his mom saying that he is
Nick
out of...
Fuentes, the city Nick Fuentes is no, it's not fucking Chicago. It's no. It's like, I say that, I'm being a little unfair, but he shouldn't claim it. But I get it. To be fair, It's one of the, he's right at the cusp of claiming it.
Prison. So we expected this. Trump said he was going to do it. The rumor is that, I suppose, as he's saying, some of those who were violent and did go to prison and were convicted have been commuted, and then it's a blanket pardon for some 1,500 other people. I'm curious what you guys think. I'm curious what you, congressmen, think about all of this.
Well, look, I was there in the Capitol. I was in the Cannon building when that took place. And here's my view of it. If someone was out there caught up in the protest and just showed up and was swept in and went inside, I have a very different view of it than people who smash down buildings, threaten people with violence, hit law enforcement officers. So I don't know the pardons, but my guess is that some of the people, from what you're saying, who pardoned it actually engaged in violence and destruction of property. And my view is I thought Trump was going to be against crime. I mean, the law and order president. So why is any kind of violence on federal property not zero tolerance?
Right.
Do you mean, so I think there's only 6 commutations. You're saying of the 15, you think it's likely that some of those probably did engage in violence?
Yeah, and the person for the seditious conspiracy, I mean, did he, if 22 years, you're sentenced to 22 years, you probably have done something that led to an imminent threat of violence. Maybe not.
Yes, Enrique Tarrio was the leader of the Proud Boys who told them to engage in this violence and told them to keep engaging in that violence. So he got 22 years for seditious conspiracy. Why did he get out? Yes, he didn't physically commit violence, but he was the leader of the people committing violence.
Wasn't he born there?
Probably done something is a dangerous way to phrase it.
Well, I trust the law. I trust the jury process there. And yeah, I mean, we're probably going to disagree on this issue, but I fundamentally believe that you can't go into the Capitol or plan things to go into the Capitol and engage in violence. That's different. Look, there were school teachers, they're dentists. They show up. They wanted to show their support. They got caught up in a frenzy. The doors are open. They go in. If they don't threaten anyone, don't have violence. I get that there was some of that was taking place, and I wouldn't go after that. But the people who were engaged in actually breaking the buildings, hurting law enforcement officers, or planning to do that, those people should be held accountable.
I completely agree. I think that's why I've said commutation makes sense.
No, you don't agree. Because I bet you finna run defense for Trump.
Only because if someone shoved a cop or pushed him 3 years, 4 years is a long time to be in prison for, like.
If someone Tim, nobody's talking about somebody that shoved a cop. Why do these people act like these people weren't ravaging the Capitol and the police officers? They shit on Nancy Pelosi's desk. Cops lost their fingers, their eyes, their spines got fucking fractured and shit. People committed suicide afterwards. All this stuff that happened. And you're talking about if somebody shoved a cop. Nobody cares about somebody that shoved a cop, bro. Nobody cares. But honestly, if they went to jail for it, I don't care because of what the intention behind their placement of being there is the problem. Why you were there, you were lied to, you fell for the lie, and then you continue to make your point known even more than just protesting. You decided to go inside of the Capitol building while officials were there, were conducting the Electoral Count Act. Yes, crime is acceptable as long as it's involving defending Trump. That's the only time these people don't care about crime.
Shoving a cop. But for people who didn't know what was going on and walked in.
Why is it either you shoved a cop or you walked in the building? What about the people that did the fucking most? Because they got out too. The people that did the absolute worst of the crimes, they got out too. You're talking about shoving a cop or walking in the building. Yeah, I agree with that. So let's talk about the people that got out that did the worst. That's what this conversation is based on, Pim.
Into a building when the gates were down or open and got trespassed. I agree with him. Curious what you guys think.
Well, I think the biggest problem here is trusting that process, right? Because it was obviously abused. I have a friend, he's a photo.
The biggest problem is trusting that process. So therefore, you shouldn't trust any other person that's been to jail for committing a crime, because all of a sudden when Trump is involved, you can't trust the process. But I guarantee you, any other instance where it favored your beliefs, you trust the process. I'm sure. As much as I'm not going to do it. I'm going to get my blood pressure up. Never mind.
Journalist, he's independent. He was there that day. He wasn't even a registered Republican, but he was in there. He went inside, took photos, and walked out. He ended up getting sentenced to 4 years in prison for doing just that. So when it comes down to the actual process, it was obviously being abused there. They're painting him in court
obviously
as a
being abused. What's your proof of that?
Core Trump supporter, and this was an insurrection, and painting him that way in court. It's obviously a completely abused system right there. Because
to what standard? Why are you just saying this?
Just walking around, nonviolent, didn't do anything violent, walking around, taking photos, and getting 4 years from that's completely unimaginable.
And there were a lot of enhancements on the sentences that turned out to be all unconstitutional by SCOTUS. They were adding to the sentences where they shouldn't have been. But to add to all of this, George Washington. What?
You can turn your mic down.
Okay.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Is that better?
Damn.
Yeah.
Okay, good. I feel more comfortable. George Washington pardoned everybody who participated in the Whiskey Rebellion, and then Abraham Lincoln and Andrew Johnson pardoned everybody, all the Confederates. So it's kind of a thought that once this is done, once you've made it through, once one side has won and one side has lost, quote unquote, it's good. It's good for the country to just move forward and not to hold on to it, just to start to heal in that way. What do you think about that?
I think, first of all, if it was a Democrat engaged in reconciliation, that's different than your own party. But look, that's why I said if someone was there, if this photojournalist is true that he just walked in. And
Kim, you talking about Ro Khanna, the guy with the Starbucks cup by him?
Took pictures, and if those facts are true, then I'd be very sympathetic to that person not being behind jail. And in general, I do think we have to find ways to come together as a country. But there were people who actually, smashed the Capitol building, who committed assault against law enforcement officers, and that should just be, forget the politics of it. I view the Capitol as a sacred place.
Do you believe in the pardons for the Confederates who probably did some pretty bad things too?
She had to go all the way back to Lincoln to draw some type of comparison to January 6th. Holy shit.
Much as some of the pundits want us to think we're in a civil war, we're not. So I think that was a different context.
Let me ask you this.
Exactly,
so I think the challenge
to think that to justify shit that Trump did. She went all the way back to Lincoln, where the world was an entirely different way, and there's a lot of context that needs to be understood within that. This is what, think about how much, bro, I can't fathom if I'm trying to make a point to somebody that they're not understanding so they could get a better grasp, that I have to go back to like fucking 1802 or something like that, and where things were so different, and they're like, it's just crazy. I'm not a Stefan. You probably finna know. You probably finna school me. I'm not a history buff. I don't know the details of what they're talking about. I'm not the history guy. I just know that if we're talking about 2025 and when Abraham Lincoln was president, I know that there's a lot of context within whatever you're trying to compare. I know that much. This is insane to me. I don't know the situation, but I just know that there's probably a lot of context that's different than whatever the fuck you're talking about.
That many of us have is on May 29th, 2020, there were several thousand far-left activists, I would say many of them extremists, who tore down the barricades of the White House, firebombed the White House grounds, set fire to St. John's Church. Yeah. We did not see Capitol Police launch an investigation. We did not see FBI raids across the country. The president...
I believe this is about the pardons and not the crimes themselves. And also, you didn't see it because you probably didn't want to. There's no world where I think that people firebombed the White House and made the president go into the bunker and all this violence in the streets and nothing came of it. That is a world that Tim Pool lives in and conservatives, but not the real one. Whatever world that is, I'd visit, but I don't want to live there.
Was forced into the emergency bunker. The corporate press, the media...
I'd visit for research purposes.
Mocked him over it, calling him bunker boy. So... that happened well before January 6th. Seeing the photos of the smoke rising up in D.C.
If Joe Biden pardoned those people, then we have a conversation. But that's not what we're talking about, Pim.
See all across the city, from the chaos and the rioting, seeing no law enforcement action. For me, I'm kind of like, well, what else is new? I've been covering protests for a decade. Then when January 6th happens, to see a nationwide raid that actually resulted in, there was a woman in Alaska who was wrongly identified. They stormed her house. And I'm thinking to myself, they're willing to send feds to Alaska to raid the wrong woman's home. And they won't even do a simple local investigation into who set fire to St. John's Church. More importantly, who firebombed the guard post of the White House. Yeah. I mean, the White House grounds was on fire.
Yeah, there was about 60 secret.
I just love, you know what I'm saying? Like this, I did this in the other video where he was going against Luke Beasley. He tells these stories. He doesn't give names. He doesn't know charges. He doesn't know anything details. He just says whatever fits his narrative, whether or not he looked into it. And I guarantee if this even happened, he doesn't know the details. First of all, for Tim, I don't even know if it's true. And if it is true, what are the intricate details that distinguish whether these people committed a serious crime or a low-level crime and whatnot? And what was the end result? Because if they're in jail, shut the fuck up. And I'm sure they ain't pardoned either. So, but they're not pardoned because we haven't heard of it. So what are you talking about? Yeah, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, these people, like, yeah, it's just, like I said, whatever you critique the left on, Trump has done 10 times over. That's my issue. I'm not saying you can't critique people on the left or Democrats or anything of the such. 10 seconds to show up, so I'm always in the wrong context. I wasn't saying I didn't think you disagreed. I didn't think you disagreed. I was just reiterating. I was saying you know more than me. I didn't think you disagreed. I don't know I don't think my latency is that bad, but I might have to make my latency less long. Because I want to engage with my chat, so I might have to decrease it. But I think it's at the normal where it's a little bit late. I don't know. It's a little late. I know that for a fact. But for the most part, I've been able to keep up. But yeah, Tim Pool lives in vagueness and generalities.
Secret Service agents that were injured that night, dozens of police officers, dozens of vehicles, obviously St. John's Church as well.
There should be accountability for that. I'm not.
Exactly, and that's the thing. People on the left will say like, well, if this shit is true, if I grant you all this shit for being true, I don't agree with this behavior and it shouldn't just be let go. But first of all, you have to prove that it's actually being let go, and it's not. I don't think that's true because I remember I did another video I did. I don't remember which one, but I looked up. There was thousands of arrests during the BLM riots that they claimed it didn't happen. Thousands of people were arrested for crimes during the BLM protests. If somebody set fire to a building and they couldn't find out who did it, it's not okay, but it's like, how much resources are you going to expend trying to find a person that set fire to a building because that can easily be done, and you're out of the scene within seconds. It's just I don't know. It's just hard to some crimes are easier to pinpoint a person to and some than others. The fucking Capitol building? You think cameras aren't in the fucking dozens in the Capitol? What? Almost the whole thing from beginning to end, everything is recorded. Like, along with people in the crowd's phones.
Defending left rioters and protesters, and if they are committing damage to the White House, if they're threatening law enforcement officers, absolutely, they should be go to prison for that. I mean, after a trial.
Exactly.
I get your point. You're saying that the police, you feel the law enforcement are singling out people because they're conservative and supporting Donald Trump in a way they aren't on the left. Now, I'll tell you, on the left, they feel the opposite in this country. I mean, it's everyone where is coming from their perspective of bias. The left says, no, the cops target folks on the left more. My view is, how do we get to a point in this country where we can agree that we should allow for protest, give people the benefit of the doubt, but when people are engaged in violence, there should be zero tolerance.
Honestly, it seems like the Democrat standard right now.
But y'all are making excuses for Trump people.
Every single person, even if they were violent, even if they did do crazy things, that's like the Democrat standard that I've noticed the last 4 years. So maybe we just do that.
Yeah, I really don't. I don't want to engage in what about.
What did he just say?
Democrat standard right now, just pardoning every single person, even if they were violent, even if they did do crazy things. That's like the Democrat standard that I've noticed the last.
Who? It's the orange Kool-Aid has been distributed in numbers that, just as Trump would say, we've never seen before. Numbers we've never seen before. He just said the Democratic standard is pardoning anybody for violence, no matter what. Who's done that? Where did that happen? Point me to the examples.
Last 4 years, so maybe we just do that.
Yeah, I really don't. I don't want to engage in whataboutism, and I share your.
As I'm about to engage in whataboutism.
Your opinion, but it's really hard to say that we need to hold the J6 rioters accountable, and that we do have to worry about the rule of law when there have been multiple times. I'm not going to get specific because again, I don't want to get into what about.
I'm not going to get into. This is absolutely. I can never be this stupid. Like, how do you get on the internet and be this dumb? He was dumb in the Luke Beasley and Tim Pool conversation. The man said, I don't want to engage in whataboutism, and then continues to engage in whataboutism. And then says, how can we set a standard where we want to hold J6ers accountable, but the left doesn't hold, I don't want to get into specifics because I don't want to engage in whataboutism, and still continue to try to make some type of point that there's a behavior is happening on the same side when clearly you're trying to avoid showing that the behavior does not happen on the other side. And people listen to this and they believe it. I just don't understand how this is real life now. How is this happening? Like, this is crazy to me, bro. Like, this is the type of shit why I made the Lord Jamar video, because it's just unfathomable that we're in a world where people will consume content and they don't think about what they're hearing in the slightest. How do you, like, one of my standards when I watch content is this person really an honest actor, even if I disagree with them? I just don't want you to be engaging in conversation in a point where you're just behaving as inhuman, like, or just unreasonable. That shit pisses me off, where you're just actively lying to people and just not even being rational in the slightest. I don't care about you disagreeing. I care about you being honest and realistic in what you're saying. And people do, like, it's people on the right that I see, that I watch their content because I think they're honest in what they're doing, even though I staunchly disagree with them. But I think they're honest in their perspective, and that helps me create better arguments for what I believe when I watch people that are honest about what they believe on the other side. This type of shit is infuriating to me.
But there have been multiple times where it seems like one political opinion is suppressed and another political opinion isn't. So it's really, I agree with you and I understand your position, but it's really hard to accept that now it matters when there have been multiple times in the past 5 or so years that that hasn't been the standard.
The George Floyd riots were some of the worst we've seen in decades.
The most destructive in U.S. history.
I think it's somewhere in the mid-20s of confirmed deaths from the rioting, and then
$30 billion or something like that in damage.
There were an additional 10 deaths from ancillary instances. There was the murdering of retired Officer Dorn, I believe. A police department was burned to the ground.
A federal building was under siege for 30 days.
No, it was like over 100 days.
It was over 100 days.
So that was over 100 days.
Then they had the Chaz and the Chad where they actually
they murdered 2 people.
Yep.
I completely agree with you, and in that I would love to be able to say, you know, we should stop having these kind of like ignoring the law and stuff. But it's really, really tough to be like, well, we're going to be the people that are going to actually start doing that, and we expect the opposing political party to do the same when we don't really see that same kind of the incent, you know, feeling from the left. So
When that double standard we see over and over and over again. And I think it's really interesting. We're talking about Enrique Tarrio, who is a Proud Boys leader. The Southern Poverty Law Center brands the Proud Boys as a white supremacist group. Enrique Tarrio, as you guys should know, is black and Hispanic. So like, again,
that means absolutely nothing.
This kind of thing. And of course the
absolutely
SPLC
nothing.
monitoring hate, unless it's Antifa, unless it's, you know, Jane's Revenge. So yes, we should have a blind justice system that treats attacks on police and attacks on federal buildings as serious, no matter which side you're coming from. We should also have a little bit more of an investigation in the pro-abortion vandalism and violence that we saw.
Oh yeah, I mean,
it's like there's case after case after case where we can say, and I do say in this book about the weaponization of law enforcement, that there is a clear bias. And I understand, you know, a lot of people on the left.
So I feel like this is a panel with 5 people that lean right and 1 person that leans left. Crazy.
Feel embattled too. And it's partially because we have these echo chambers where we say, oh, we're the ones who are embattled. We're the ones who are embattled. We're the victims. But if you look at this issue of crime, the left has a lot more sway. You have a lot more prosecutors who've been funded by George Soros and the Open Society Foundations.
Around the country, we have more prosecutors. I don't know the facts.
There's 72. How many are there?
Of
total?
Funded by George Soros?
Yes, he did like 72 elections. So how many total are there?
I don't know how many are still in.
Here you go. They finna compare George Soros to Elon Musk, and there's no comparison. Let's go.
I
think it's like in cities.
Yeah, but the locations that his
the main thing is
are
the blue cities where they've taken over. It's emboldened crime because they're not prosecuting people.
2,300.
The policy is called restorative justice. The idea that people that have been in oppressed groups or marginalized groups have to be treated differently under the law, which is completely and totally antithetical to what we're talking about.
That's antithetical to the Constitution.
Yeah,
and that's antithetical to what our country was built on. When it comes to the Declaration of Independence, the grievances 8, 9, 18, and 19 all deal with captured courts, and the grievances 12 and 15 deal with 2 tiers of justice. So,
I feel like the large shift that we've seen politically, like how Donald Trump ends up winning the popular vote, comes from a lot of moderates. You see Joe Rogan, Elon Musk, Tulsi Gabbard, RFK Jr., even someone like me. We are all liberal. I never consider myself like a Democrat, but if I went and voted,
this nigga's not liberal.
It was just like straight Democrat, the 1 or 2 times I ever did. And then what ends up happening is I watch the news, and what do I see? I see far left rioters throwing firebombs, smashing things repeatedly over and over again. I personally end up going down and covering some of these riots and these protests. And I see instances where they get arrested. I was at the Trump's inauguration in 2017, and there were hundreds of far left extremists who set fires, smashed windows. A limousine was torched. It was owned by an immigrant. It was a contractor who was doing rides. Numerous fires, and then they mass arrested several hundred people. I end up getting caught up in what they call a police kettle, and I, as well as a few other journalists, presented our press cards, waited patiently, and eventually got released. These individuals who got arrested, who were clearly engaged in violence, ended up not only having their charges dropped, but they sued the federal government and won over $1 million.
We don't have one. He's not going to be specific. Y'all see what I'm talking about? He's not going to be specific about shit. I need specificity when you're talking about stuff like this. You can't just say this and I just got to be like, damn, that's crazy, bro. Fuck out of here.
So here's someone like me where it's like, you know, I grew up Chicago, liberal, punk rock, all that stuff. And then I'm like, oh, that's how it goes. Then I see a bunch of right-wingers go out and protest, and it's nationwide manhunt. And to the point where, well, I certainly agree anybody who's violent should go to jail. You hit a cop, you go to jail for that, you know?
Yep.
I met one couple that showed up to the Capitol several hours after everyone had already left, and there were just people standing in the lawn. They walked up an open sidewalk, up to a building where the doors were wide open, no broken glass on the other side of the building, and they walked in and looked around.
Exactly, Kim. The people, if anybody got arrested for the riot, for any, you know, crimes for the BLM riots, they didn't get a pardon, which is what this is supposed to be about. They claim nobody got arrested, which is literally not true, that people did not get arrested for crimes during BLM. Those people didn't get a pardon. This is about the pardons. You're lying about something that's not even the fucking topic at hand. Because they know they feel like they can win on this topic because their audience isn't going to go look and see if people got arrested during BLM for the most part. There might be 2 people out of 2,000 that might look up and see, did anybody get arrested during BLM? And then they'll see that people got arrested during BLM riots, but they know that most of their audience isn't going to do that. They're just going to listen to them, and that's all it takes. So they're not going to acknowledge it. So they're just going to jump and say nobody got arrested because they know they can't confront the fact that nobody got a pardon for it. They can't confront that. What's good, F. Wood? Appreciate you for sliding. So they know they can't engage in the conversation of people being pardoned from the BLM riots because nobody got pardoned from the BLM riots. So they literally avoid that and just talk about they didn't get arrested because their audience is not going to look it up.
And didn't know what was going on, didn't see anything.
Because they don't have to look up if people got pardoned from BLM riots because they would know, because we get announcements about Joe Biden's pardons and presidential pardons in general. They announce that shit openly. So that's not as much work for anybody to do. People are lazy.
And then I think it was
yeah, like literally they get by on lies and it's crazy. I just can't wait for the documentary of the age of misinformation.
A year later, they got their home raided, and this man and this woman were sentenced to 18 months in prison, and they had no idea why. So when I see something like that, I think that is why you end up with people saying, Trump pardon everybody. We don't trust the system anymore.
That's bullshit.
We've seen too much violence.
You don't trust the system that you created to be untrustworthy. Got it. Yeah.
I mean, you had those 2 individuals in New York who were giving out Molotov cocktails. Got a slap on the wrist.
You talking about the lady that firebombed the car? Was that Philadelphia?
The 2 lawyers. 2 lawyers were giving out Molotov cocktails in New York City.
Yeah.
Give me names. You see what I'm saying? Like, we never get specificity with him. And the moment there's specificity involved, he's wrong. Every time. Every time you have to be specific about his claims, he's wrong. The same thing with Enrique Tarrio. He didn't know shit about it, and he tried to yell at Luke Beasley for like 5 minutes about him not knowing shit. Luke assessed it correctly for not knowing every single minute detail, but knew the general idea of what happened. Tim looks it up, wrong. Tim, who are these 2 lawyers? They got Molotov, they were passing out Molotov cocktails and didn't get arrested. Give me the name so I can look this up and know exactly what happened.
And they end up getting a slap on the wrist. No federal charges. And Kash Patel talked about it.
Right.
So that breaks my confidence in the justice system being fair and reasonable. And then when someone comes to me and says that Donald Trump is guilty of a crime, I say, yeah, I'm reading those documents. Someone comes to me and says Enrique Tarrio committed seditious conspiracy. I say, yeah, right.
Yeah, let me wait. Let me see those documents because it involves Trump. Y'all see what's happening? He cares about the specifics when it involves Trump. But if it's somebody that's against Trump, we're not going to look into any specifics. Well, just to show he's full of shit, I just looked up this Molotov cocktail stuff. Judge sentences second New York lawyer in Molotov cocktail case. So they didn't just go get a slap on the wrist. Well, no, I'm sorry. The argument was they got a slap on the wrist. So I guess whatever the sentence wasn't hefty. But let me see. Let's see. A second former New York lawyer has been sentenced to 1 year and 1 day in prison for participating in a Molotov cocktail attack during a New York City protest in 2020 following the death of George Floyd. Well, that in itself dispute the fact that nobody got arrested during the 2020 riots, right? Right, okay. And a year and 1 day. So they gave away Molotov cocktails for the 2020 riots and they got a year. I do think that that's reasonable. I don't know, like, first of all, I don't know what happened with that. Let's read. Colin Fermatis, 35, pleaded guilty to carrying out the attack on an empty New York Police Department patrol car. He set an empty car on fire and got a year in prison. He set an empty police car on fire. And he'll have to pay $30,000 of restitution to the police department for the destroyed van and serve 1 year of supervised release after his jail sentence. Bitch, I dare Tim Porter. Bro, these people are insane, dog. Y'all, I hate these people. Like, if I ever met Tim Pool, I would be like, bro, you are a piece of shit. Why do you walk through life being this dishonest about every fucking thing that comes out of your mouth? The man threw a Molotov in a unoccupied police car, got a year in prison, and has to pay $30,000 in restitution, and is on supervised release after jail, and he feels like they got a slap on the wrist? Compared to people that tried to storm the Capitol and beat on police getting 4 years max? Do we not see how maybe that might be comparable in punishment? You're harming a government official to hurt with your intent of harming other government officials, and you get 4 years max. Compared to somebody that set a car on fire that nobody was in. And these are both people of color. So you can't say that they're like being easy on people that ain't white. Bro, I'm livid. I thought that there was at least a level of merit to what the fuck he just said. This is absolutely, this is the type of shit where I say, like, I can't listen to this person at all anymore. This level of dishonesty is just I just can't wrap my mind around it. No matter how much money I make, I couldn't just live my life being this dishonest. This is crazy.
I just don't believe it. I can't believe it. And I think that's the reasonable take. Not that it's wrong, but to start from a place of skepticism and then say, show me the actual evidence, because the word of a jury in a 90% Democrat district is not enough for me to believe someone actually did something wrong, at least right now.
Well, and that's the real tragedy of all of this, is that the weaponization of the prosecutions is the one thing. And of course, not a majority of the prosecutors across the country have been supported by George Soros. That wasn't what I was.
I think you're saying more liberal.
I was saying, yes, they tend to be more liberal. These, rogue prosecutors tend to represent the cutting edge, and they're seen as the cutting edge among the prosecutor community. And then you see many of these examples over and over again where there is not equal justice applied. And usually that's because of the prosecutors. Sometimes, unfortunately, it's also because of the juries. And I love our system of justice. I think the jury having the ultimate say is, it's ideal. But the problem is we're almost living in two different worlds where the right and the left can't see eye to eye on almost anything.
Let me ask you this, especially because we're on Martin Luther King Day. If I concede that there were some people who, like your couple, went in, shouldn't have been in, prosecuted for 18 months. And I also will tell you that anyone who engaged in violence, looting, rioting, whether they're doing it in the LA fires right now, should be locked up, or if they did it in response to George Floyd, which was, in my view, a total case of police gone rogue. But if the response to that has to be in the King's tradition.
Hey, like Kim said, if y'all still in here rocking with me, make sure you leave a like, man. That's the least you can do. It's free. It's free. It's free. It's free. You can leave a like, man. Just leave a like.
Peaceful protest. Well, would you though concede that historically and still today, if you're black in America, there is still often bias from the police force where you could be pulled over in a way that you wouldn't be if you were Indian or if you're in a certain neighborhood? And can you understand from the other perspective of some of these folks who were protesting, I'm not justifying it, how they see what you see as the law enforcement biased against those who are conservative, and they're saying, no, the law enforcement actually has been in certain places biased against us? Or do you think we've passed that?
There could be some.
I don't like how that was such a shift in the conversation. This wasn't about being treated differently because of your race and stuff. Like, this was about the fucking pardons, bro. He easily could have said, if I concede X, Y, and Z, can y'all concede Z, Y, and X? Like, that's like, he literally laid it out and then just shifted the entire conversation. This was not about like disparities in racial prejudice and stuff like that. That's a conversation, but that's not what y'all was talking about, bro. Why you just fuck up the damn? You had a dunk on them and you just changed the conversation completely.
Some bias there. The way the media covers it makes it suggest like it's a epidemic, and it's not.
Shut the fuck up. Like, yes, I will agree that the media does sometimes act like it's a bigger problem than it is, but that's the point of the media. That's the point of the media. But y'all lie. Like, it is like the media does make certain novel situations seem like more than what they are in the moment, but it's because of how bad it is. But then some people take that as like, look, we keep seeing it on the news, so it's so prevalent. It's like, well, the reason it's on the news is because it's not that common. That's the thing. Seeing someone trying to find common ground with extremists like Tim Pool is so gross. Like, yeah, and not only are you, the thing is, you want to try to find common ground. Well, I don't want to call it common ground. What Rokana is trying to do is trying to make him concede something that he don't think he would concede. I don't think there is a common ground with people like Tim Pool because he doesn't engage honestly with anything. He doesn't know shit and he just talks. He just talks. And so it's no way to ever come to common ground because he doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about.
I absolutely want answers. I will not concede that.
See,
and the reason why
he changed the conversation to thinking he had something that he would concede on, and Tim won't even concede on the shit. That's crazy. Tim don't even think that black people face different challenges.
Is from
minorities. I ain't gonna say black, minorities.
Logic standpoint, it would be impossible for a person, or largely impossible for a person, to know what the experience of another race is. So we hear stories, and we are told that
I don't know if impossible is the word. If you know these people and see their experiences, it's not impossible to know the experiences. Not all people, but there's people of minorities that you can find. You know what I'm saying? Find the type of stories and experiences they deal with. Brickshaw, I feel you. Like in real life, it's far more draining in real life. But I'd rather do it with people like this because in real life, I'm not trying to embarrass the person. I just want them to just better think about their takes. But with people like Tim Pool, I would be trying to embarrass them. That would be the goal. I don't feel gross because I will be pulling gotchas and all that shit. Tim Pool is just dishonest. I would only people that are dishonest. That's who I would try to. That's who I would not. I wouldn't feel gross about tactics with dishonest people because why? Just like with Trump, why am I playing fair with you? Fuck, your audience probably not gonna like me no matter how honest or dishonest I am. Your audience I'm not gonna get your audience. So fuck it.
Black people in this country experience bias at the hands of police officers. I actually believe some of these stories are probably true, but it's hard to quantify it literally or numerically. And so the issue I run into is from the south side of Chicago myself, I saw no difference between the Mexican, white, mixed, Asian, black people in my community when the cops were hassling us. Then I see these stories from the left where they say the talk. Something that white people don't understand. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Everybody in my neighborhood got the talk. When you were a kid in the south side of Chicago, be it white, black, Mexican, Asian, no matter what you were, your parents told you, if you get pulled over, you turn your car off, you put the keys on the dash, you turn the dome light on.
It's not acceptable, Kim, whatsoever. It's not.
You turn the radio down, wallet on your dash, hands on the wheels, and don't move because a cop could shoot you. Everyone got that story. So then when I'm told that there are these racial disparities because cops are treating certain minority groups a certain way, I say, okay, tell me the story. I hear a story from someone who's a minority, be it black, Mexican, or Indian or otherwise, and I say, that's crazy. I can't believe that happened to you. I have stories too. But then people tell me my stories don't count. Or what ends up happening to me is if I say I'm mixed, they say, see, it proves it. If I don't tell them I'm mixed, they say, you're white, you don't understand. There's for me.
You're getting to the heart of the issue, I think.
I love the anecdote.
I think, and part of the reason Trump won is that there are a lot of people in working class neighborhoods, white working class neighborhoods, who have suffered tremendously because jobs were offshored, because of the opioid crisis, because they have not had economic opportunity. And one can say that is true and not deny their experience or look down upon them or make it kind of a pyramid of suffering or victimhood, and still acknowledge, in my view, that race also has a factor. It's not just, and that doesn't take away from the issue of people who are white and working class. And I think that's part of the challenge in this country. Is how do we have that conversation?
I think humans are tribal, so race plays a factor. Politics can also play a factor. When you are perceiving someone who's different from yourself, and you haven't been trained, as I think many of us rightly were in this room, to judge someone based on the content of their character, not the color of their skin, it's very easy to see in the other something that you dislike, that you think they're singling you out, that they're being, I think that inherent distrust of tribalism is at the root of a lot of the perceptions of this supposedly widespread violence.
We had a video from, do you guys know King Randall? Personality. I think we've had him on the show before.
Yeah,
and he's a black man, and he made a video just last week, and he said, I can't believe this happened to me. I got pulled over by the police, And he films himself as he gets pulled over. And the officer basically says, I pulled you over. He's like, no. He's like, well, you're speeding. He says, okay, license and registration. He hands him his ticket and says, just sign here. It's not an admission of guilt. It's just an acknowledgement of receipt. He signs it. And he says, slow down for me, buddy. He says, you got it. Thank you, sir. And that's it. End of story.
Congressman, I think
wow, Tim. That was groundbreaking. Now I understand. Black people will never be mistreated by the police. You know somebody that wasn't mistreated by the police that was black, so it doesn't happen. We're free. The police won't harm us anymore. You guys, Tim said a black man wasn't harmed by the police, so we're good. Nothing will ever happen anymore, right? I need to see this video. This is groundbreaking. He knows a black person that didn't get harmed by the police, so it doesn't exist. Oh my God. I think cancer is next. I think there'll be no more cancer. This is amazing. This is amazing.
Low IQ.
This is fucking amazing. Oh my God. Fam, no more police brutality. No more disparity between black and white.
Low IQ.
Oh my God.
Low IQ. Low IQ.
Bro, I'm astounded. Tim is today's Einstein. There's a black person that didn't get harmed by the police.
Low
so
IQ.
Now there's no
Low
more black
IQ.
people that will ever be harmed by the police because he saw it happen once in a video.
Low IQ.
Oh my God.
Low IQ.
Oh,
Low IQ.
I feel so great. This is amazing. I never thought this day would come. Like, yo, this is revolutionizing. Yes, MAGA. This is
Low
Trump.
IQ.
This is Trump's America.
Low
where we
IQ.
can know somebody that never got harmed by the police. Therefore, it's no
Low
longer a
IQ.
thing. It doesn't matter.
Low IQ.
It's just
Low IQ.
I just never thought this day would come. Oh man.
today, like I think
your butt
agreeing with your
down.
point, maybe back in the day was certainly more easy. It's pretty fair that discrimination was pretty rampant in policing, let's say in the 50s, right?
Early 90s
I would
even,
say,
yeah.
yeah, sure, 60s, 70s, whatever. But today, I would argue that there's probably more demand for that racism than there actually is supply. Look no further than all the hoaxes we've seen recently, how much Democrat politicians leverage this, push this on their audience. I mean, I interview people all around the country. And most people are pretty darn good, right? You talk to a lot of people, they're honestly pretty great people. But you do run into people that genuinely are like fearful of white people walking around because they believe that maybe they're connected to the Proud Boys or they're racist and they'll hunt them down in the street or something like that. And you're just like, in what reality is this the case? Or how is this even possible? But it's because people, politicians, and media figures leverage this stuff to a lot of times push fear on the American people. I genuinely don't think there's that much supply for it today as there is demand for it.
I will tell you, though, I do think systemic racism exists. And so I'll clarify what that means, because I know a lot of people in the audience are going to say, Tim, you're wrong. There are systems that were built over a long period of time back when this country had overtly racist laws and policies that remain in effect as barriers. For instance, redlining and blockbusting, which were legal practices in Chicago and in many other places, left behind structural remnants that exist today. So if someone comes to me and says, my family's impoverished largely due to the actions taken in the 1950s, which segregated us, and now we are struggling to get out of this area, that's absolutely 100% factually correct. The issue of individual biases, I think you made a great point about humans being tribal. I do agree with and think exists. But I think, outside of these structures, we have largely passed these laws to make that all illegal. And now I think the majority of the population is trying to avoid being racist. And they don't like being called racist, and we don't want that to be the principal issue. I do think we've largely dealt with it from a legal point, and now it's going to require... I think we have to be cognizant of these systems. Redlining and blockbusting, for instance, for those that don't know, redlining was when real estate companies would only sell property to black people in an area near the red line in Chicago, creating isolated pockets of racial segregation. And that results in, you don't have the same industry, you don't have the same tax base, you don't have the same schools, you don't have the same skill sets as a robust, eclectic, educated area. Being aware of that, I think, is important. But I think blaming cops and calling them racist when, police departments in big cities are even, right, they have affirmative action for the past 20 or 30 years. I would say, I think we may have swung the pendulum a little bit too far in the other way, which is causing more problems.
Well, part of the challenge, I think, is that we've been having these conversations in silos. So if someone says, your point that you think that there isn't as much racism, the reaction on the left often can be, well, that's just a racist thing to say, and that puts you in a position of anger and defensiveness. And on the right, on the flip side, if someone says, no, I actually experience the world through race and come live it in my shoes, on the right, people say, oh, they're just engaging in identity politics and they're just making this about race for advantage as opposed to being authentic. And the reality is those two groups aren't talking to each other. And one of the things we got to do is have their authentic people in the George Floyd protests, not the ones who rioted, who, my friend Jamal Bowman, I mean, he will tell you what he thinks it's like being a black person in New York. And you should talk to him about where you think being white in a neighborhood you had the same experience. And we ought to be able to have these conversations without labeling each other in a derogatory way.
Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL.
Ooh, okay. Tim Pool is a fucking idiot, bro. Like, that's absolutely following somebody like that just seems I couldn't fathom it. That's crazy to me, bro. Like, that's crazy to me that people could even accept being lied to that extent. Like I said, that's my barometer. Like, lying and just willful ignorance and just lack of engagement with the material that you want to speak on. Like, I just cannot watch people like that. There's content creators I used to adamantly like, and then I saw them behaving in behavior where, like, you're either lying or just being willfully ignorant or just neglecting to do the proper research while expecting to be taken seriously. I just stopped watching because it's just like, bro, you're not trying. And if you're not trying, you need to let it be known. To be fair, Brickashaw, there's no proof that he knew. So that's why he's not been in trouble, and that's why Lauren Chen's fell off the face of the earth, because she knew. Lauren Chen knew. And that's why she's disappeared, because she has to go through her court situation, whatever that may be, to where she's going to probably be charged. And as far as like Dave Rubin, Tim Pool, Benny Johnson, they, as far as we know, didn't know. They were just getting the money, and they didn't necessarily know where it was coming from. To me, that either says, A, they were willfully ignorant, they chose to act like they didn't know what was going on, or B, they're lying and they knew and just pretending they didn't. Because there's no way. Tim tried to tell Sam Cedar, like, yeah, like, you get sponsors and people license out your content, you get paid for it. They were getting paid like $1 million a video or some shit. Like, I could be totally, or 400. It was some, please check me on the numbers if anybody knows it. It was like $400,000 a video or some shit like that for Tenet. It was some shit like that. The numbers made no sense. If somebody approached me saying, yeah, you got 1,000 subs, I'll give you $200,000 a month for 3 videos, I would be like, that doesn't sound right. Like, I'm going to look into that. I would not just be like, all right. Like, yeah, to be fair, I get you want to make some money. Like, they probably, it probably is just people. I'll be fair. They probably heard a large number. They trusted Lauren Chen because she's a person they know in real life that made her own money and stuff like that. They probably was like, shit, I ain't asking no questions. You for real finna give me $400,000 a video? Like, for real? Like, that's really finna happen? And if you don't know, you kind of absolved of everything if you just signed in a contract saying somebody's gonna pay me $400,000 a month, a video, whatever. So to be completely fair, they probably didn't want to ask any questions so they could get that money. But at the same time, to pretend like that shit wasn't weird, you're lying. If somebody offered me $1 million and I could get away with signing it, you used to give me $1 million a month for 3 videos or whatever the fuck the number is that don't make no sense, and I could get away with acting like I ain't no shit and you just gave me the money. If I could get away with it legally, I might. But all it proves is that you're a Russian talking head. That's all. That's why you was able to do that, because you're propagating Russia for the free. So they say, hey, shit, if he gonna keep talking like this, we can give him some money for it. He gonna keep talking like it. So you know what I'm saying? Like, Yeah, no, Brickshaw, yeah, Brickshaw, yeah. Exactly. Like, it was just like, oh shit, that number, I don't care what the fuck they talking about. I'm just gonna take it. That I think that's how that probably played out. But yeah, you're right. And being that naive is unacceptable. That's the thing. I can't even sit here and act like, to be fair, I'm in a different position than those people. I think they make good money regardless of that situation. They make more money than most of us. So to be that naive was intentional. That's the problem. It's like you can't say they knew the money was coming from Russia, but that level of naivete is it's intentional. That's why I say I'm like, you knew that something was up, but if you knew that you could keep your hands clean, you probably was like, yeah, I'll take it. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I don't know if it's as culpable as directly receiving it from Russia, knowing what's going on. I don't know if I want to go that far, but there's a level of knowing within that. We gonna watch this. I'm gonna react to this Trump sermon, and I'm going to be right back. I just need to get something to drink. I'll be thirsty. Let's watch this. This Bishop School Trump. Snoop had everything but the tap shoes. Oh man, Snoop. Oh shit. I did want to get to Snoop. I did want to get to Snoop too. We finna do this Trump sermon thing. Fuck, I be pressing the wrong shit, y'all. My bad. Yeah, Snoop is wild. Snoop is wild.
Please be seated.
This is so funny.
Welcome to
this is hilarious.
The first foundation for unity is honoring the inherent dignity of every human being, which is, as all the faiths represented here affirm, the birthright of all people as children of our one God.
Hey, Shorty came on a mission, bro. She definitely came on a mission.
In public discourse, honoring each other's dignity means refusing to mock or discount or demonize those with whom we differ, choosing instead to respectfully debate our differences, and whenever possible, to seek common ground. And if common ground is not possible, dignity demands.
Y'all see Snoop, what the fuck? Y'all see Trump give Vance that look like, do you hear this shit right now? Oh my God. Trump said, this bitch finna try me, bro. And Vance like, oh shit, this finna be on the news. Just keep cool.
Respectfully debate our differences, and whenever possible, to seek common ground. And if common ground...
Bro! This finna be the thumbnail, bro. This finna be the thumbnail. Oh my God, bro. This is hilarious. Fam. This is comedy, bro. Trump, he is no words, and they just knew exactly. They was like, this bitch, this is over.
Ground is not possible. Dignity demands that.
Bro, the bishop, she basically was saying like, I'm finna tell y'all about yourself. And that's, okay, here we go.
Respectfully debate our differences, and whenever possible, to seek common ground. And if common ground is not possible, dignity demands that we remain true to our convictions without contempt for those who hold convictions of their own.
Y'all see Trump's son behind him? Right here to the left? I think that's Eric. Yeah, that's Eric Trump, I believe, directly behind him. And then that's Don Jr. behind him to the right. And he's looking like, what the fuck is finna happen?
For those who hold convictions of their own. Let me make one final plea, Mr. President. Millions have put their trust in you.
D-Nice,
And as you told the nation,
D-Nice, she finna bake his ass in the most eloquent and spiritual and religious way, bro.
yesterday you have felt the providential hand of a loving God. In the name of our God, I ask you to have mercy upon the people in our country who are scared now. There are gay, lesbian, and transgender children in Democratic, Republican, and independent families. Some who fear for their lives. And the people who pick
JD Vance with his fucking eyeliner looking at his wife who is not giving him no... Y'all, if you pay attention to Usha during this whole campaign, she do not fuck with it. Usha does not want to be in this whatsoever. She probably feels like JD Vance was not like... She hasn't... I give her credit for how she's been, but I feel like she has not been with this presidential vice president shit from jump. Like, she did like one interview, I believe, maybe, but all I've seen is one. She's not fucking with the shits, but she seems to have more tact in this situation than JD Vance. The man looks at her as if she's supposed to be like, oh shit, with you, and y'all got cameras on y'all everywhere, and they on you.
and clean our office buildings.
I don't know what he just said, but she just gave this soft nod because she's like, nigga, it's cameras on us. We can't behave like this.
The people who pick our crops and clean our office buildings.
Oh, I don't know what the fuck he said. All she did was gave this slight nod.
Labor in poultry farms and meat packing
She did not take her eyes off this.
Who wash the dishes after we eat in restaurants and work the night shifts in hospitals. They may not be citizens or have the proper documentation, but the vast majority of immigrants are not criminals. They pay taxes and are good neighbors.
And now he looking at Trump again. He wants some more validation, and he wanted him to look at him again, bro. Vance is a fucking child, bro. Cameras is on you everywhere.
They are faithful members of our churches and mosques, synagogues, wadara, and temples. I ask you to have mercy, Mr. President, on those in our communities whose children fear that their parents will be taken away, and that you help those who are fleeing war zones and persecution in their own lands to find compassion and welcome here.
I wonder what he said. Oh shit, that's just so funny to me, bro. Like, she said, I'm glad she did that though, because Trump, people so scared to tell Trump about himself, but she saw an opportunity to get her shit off, and she did. So we gonna look at I'm finna show y'all what he said after this happened. This is what he said on Truth Social after this shit happened. Come on, man. You ain't got... Is this the whole thing? Need to find the whole tweet. Trying to find the whole thing. Hold on. Damn, I can't find. I don't, man. Hey, bro, I appreciate you, D Nice, man. Thank you, bro. I'm trying to find the one I found. I don't fucking have Truth Social. I know who got it. X got it. Excuse me. Okay, so I guess that was it. It might have been it. All right, so this is what Trump said. He said the so-called bishop who spoke at the National Prayer Service on Tuesday morning was a radical left hardline Trump hater. She brought her church into the world of politics in a very ungracious way. She was nasty in tone. He only used nasty for women, and not compelling or smart. She failed to mention the large number of illegal immigrants that came into our country and killed people, which is not a large number. Many were deposited from jails and mental institutions. No, they haven't. It is a giant crime wave that is taking place in the USA. No, it isn't. Apart from her inappropriate statements, the service was a very boring and uninspiring one. She is not very good at her job. She and her church owe the public an apology. Exclamation point T. Like, bro, how fucking childish can you be where somebody sat up there and told you to have empathy for people that are weak right now? Like this is the type of man Trump is, and people are like, oh, he's the exemplification of masculinity. He's a full-blown child and a baby, bro. Like, how you can't handle some fucking criticism, bro? Like, that shit is so fucking childish. Simple empathy for people that don't have any power or control over anything. You know what I'm saying? Like, damn, bro. That shit's so fucking childish. Stupid. Hold on, I'm reading some shit on this Destiny shit, bro. I don't want to put it on screen yet because I don't know if I'm covering it. This shit, Destiny shit is crazy. All right, these people twigging. Okay, so I got something. It was one more. Was it? Am I tweaking? No, it was. I think it was one more thing I wanted to. Oh, Piers MAGA Morgan. That's what I wanted to cover. Piers MAGA Morgan. Ooh, y'all know nobody gets under my skin the way Piers does. He actually has a couple videos I wanted to watch, but of course I'm not gonna watch all of them. So I need to figure out right now. I don't know. This one with Dave Rubin is actually funny because Harry I seen clips of Harry getting into Dave Rubin, and Dave Rubin is such a fucking asshat. It's hilarious. Let's watch, and it's shorter, so we gonna watch this one.
I was saved by God to make America great again.
Make America great again.
We will stand bravely, we will live proudly, and nothing will stand in our way because we are Americans. The future is ours, and our golden age has just begun.
I think that was Donald Trump's single best speech ever.
He's still the same gangster with neo-fascist sensibilities that he was before.
It certainly wasn't particularly gracious. He gave us a shopping list of everything that he wants to get done.
There's going to be up to 200 executive orders unleashed, right? I'm just genuinely curious which ones you have a big problem with. Would you contest the fact there is a crisis on the southern border?
I definitely think that there's a problem at the border, but it's just interesting that Donald Trump is declaring a national emergency on this.
When you have an allegiance to profit-making and greed, lo and behold, the spiritual decay becomes more manifest.
Melania Trump, is she getting undercredited?
I think she's going to bring elegance and decency back. That's in stark contrast to Jill Biden. She's the one really upset she's giving up power. Hush, Hobbit, for just a moment.
Yeah, look at Dave Rubin doubling down on being wrong and lying. I thought you were retiring, Dave.
Well, the first days of Donald Trump's second term will be remembered for MAGA shock therapy. After 75 days in waiting, the Trump team wants the message to be promises made, promises kept and delivered at warp speed. A reprieve for TikTok, pardons for January 6th rioters, the abolition of DEI and gender ideology across the federal government, a national emergency declaration at the US-Mexico border, and rapid moves to clamp down on illegal immigrants, including an end to birthright citizenship. As the 45th president becomes the 47th, what are America's...
I love how he says that so casually, the end to birthright citizenship. I love how he said that like it's just not a big deal.
...hopes and fears for Trump's first 100 days. To debate this, I'm joined by the host of the Rubin Report and author of Don't Burn This Country, Surviving and Thriving in Our Woke Dystopia, Dave Rubin, the co-host of Verdict with Ted Cruz, Ben Ferguson, the TikTok influencer Harry Sisson, whose job has just been saved by Donald Trump, philosopher and former independent presidential candidate Dr. Cornel West. Well, welcome to all of you, a stellar panel, I'm delighted to say. Dave Rubin, let me start with you. Watching Donald Trump's inaugural address there, two things struck me. One, it was about half as long as his first one. Very disciplined, very focused, hit all what he would call his greatest hits from his rallies. It looked to me like a guy who understands what he has to do second time round is absolutely deliver on promise. And if he does, his legacy could be extremely good. I also got a sense of somebody who genuinely believes it when he says he feels like he's got another chance after the assassination attempt. That bit of humanity in the speech was something he said to me a week after he got shot, that he just feels there was a reason why he got spared and that he thinks it's to make America great again, and that's his great calling and purpose. What did you feel about those two things?
Yeah, I think that's quite a good analysis. And Piers, I think that was Donald Trump's single best speech ever. We have all...
Of course, y'all niggas live in simple town. Like everything that's just not deep, not nuanced. Everything, the small words, generalities. Y'all live in this space, and you just clearly fester. This smirk on Harry's face is hilarious right now.
All heard dozens, if not hundreds of them. That was the most focused, on-point speech. And he really did two things there. It obviously was about the resilience and the resurgence of America and laying out this golden age that I really do think is a coming. And I think there's going to be change and change really, really fast. And just returning to a lot of the sanity that we have forgotten about. I mean, just for a president to have to get up there and say men are men and women are women is kind of crazy, but that's how close to the precipice of insanity we got. But also fixing things at the border and foreign policy and economically and et cetera. But the other part that I really like, because it was necessary, was that much of the speech was directed completely at the people who were behind his left shoulder. Yeah. And I'm talking about, obviously, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris and the other former presidents and some of those people, because he basically said, you guys almost handed the keys to the kingdom away you almost ruin the most precious, beautiful system of governance in the history of the world. And I think it was important to say that this wasn't a speech of retribution, but it was important to acknowledge these guys have messed up an awful lot and their day is over. A new day is here. And Donald Trump is going to be a president for the people. And I also agree with what you said about his newfound, if you want to call it faith, that's just fine. But I think he is on a mission right now, and it's very exciting. I can tell you, being here in D.C. right now, there are smiles on virtually every face in this city right now. Believe it or not, here in DC.
These people use anecdotes to freaking back up everything that they say, and that's so annoying. Like, how do you you're supposed to be a political commentary or a political channel, like. How do you use anecdotes for I'm in DC and everybody's smiling? I would never be, if I was a political commentator, I would never just be talking about my personal experience to make a point.
No, a smile on Cornel West's face. Cornel, it's a golden age. The future is coming. America's been trampled into the ground by the Democrats, but the savior is here and all is going to be great. Do you share that optimism?
Well, I'm a prisoner of hope, but for those of us who are committed to some deep conception of truth and love and justice, especially for poor and working people, not just here, but around the world, Africa, Gaza, Haiti. Legacy of Martin Luther King Jr. is one of what? Unarmed truth. Donald Trump, you know, he's my brother, I'm a Christian, but he promotes armed lies and unconditional hubris. Where was the focus on poor people? Where was the acknowledgement of the genocide? Where was the acknowledgement of working people, 62% living paycheck to paycheck? But he says prosperity, yes, we want prosperity. Will it be fairly distributed? We had the oligarchs sitting right next to him. They're speaking into his ear. And Martin Luther King Jr. says, wait a minute, when I died, I was dealing with oligarchs. When I died, I was dealing with increasing deregulated markets that makes it different for working people to gain access to fair wages. So it's a sad day for me, but I smile anyway because I believe in the possibility of human beings. And as a Christian, you know, I pray for Trump, I pray for his family, but I also recognize that he's still the same gangster with neo-fascist sensibilities that he was before, and I'm going to fight him. I love my enemies, but I'll be fighting him every fiber of my being.
Would you say that it's the behavior of a gangster, Cornel, to give preemptive pardons to all your family and your mates?
Don't judge me, I'm a child.
I mean, I'm just...
That's what gangsters do.
How does that sit with your very powerful homily about...
The Democrats have their own gangsters, brother. They got their own genocide promoters and so forth. And not only that, there's a gangster in each and every one of us. The question is whether we're willing to push it back and allow the best of us. That's the legacy of Martin King, but not just King. That's the legacy of Jesus of Nazareth, my brother.
Okay, let me bring Ben Ferguson in here. I mean, I do think the best thing that could possibly have happened for Republicans is not just that Trump obviously got elected again and in such overwhelming style, especially winning the popular vote, which kind of killed all arguments stone dead, but also that he did it in a way, and this was clear from the speech, which resonated with so many people that Cornel doesn't seem to think were remotely impacted or affected by this. Because he had a lot of poor Americans queuing up to vote for him, actually, who raced to the ballot box because in Trump they saw someone who does care about them. I don't agree with Cornel there. What did you feel?
With all due respect, Cornel, I don't think you were listening because the people in this country that are living paycheck to paycheck, they voted in overwhelming numbers for Donald Trump. Those that were concerned about their kids' future and every time they pull up to a gas pump, they were having a hard time figuring out how they're going to choose between filling up a full tank or getting a full basket of groceries. They voted for Donald Trump. This election was proof that the American people were left behind by Joe Biden and the Biden crime family and those that he was going to have to pardon. They cared more about going after their political opponents than they did about the American people that were suffering. And if you listen to what Donald Trump...
This guy is insufferable. Like, if y'all don't know, this guy is so fucking insufferable. Like,
said he was clearly speaking to those living paycheck to paycheck. And he clearly was saying, I understand that there's these people that try to destroy me and ruin my life, but that's not why I'm here. God spared my life to come back in and to say, I am going to be your spokesperson. He said it last night in his campaign rally, basically his last event of his life, where he was sitting there saying, I am here for you, not for me. Perfect. I think he's a different man than he was in 2016.
Hey.
I think anyone that watched that speech and listened to it
Appreciate
felt hope today.
I can't say
think if
that,
you're an American
but I
struggling, a
appreciate
single
you
mom
for
that's struggling
subbing,
today, someone whose kid's in a failing school, in my
whoever just
hometown, for
subbed,
example,
I
in Memphis,
appreciate
Tennessee,
it.
where Martin Luther King was gunned down, on this MLK Day, the majority of the schools there are failing. And what has Donald Trump said? We have to do better. We have to do better for the Hispanic American community, the African American community. We have to give you safer neighborhoods, safer streets, and a secure border. And if you're looking at that president, Donald Trump of 2025 is very different than Donald Trump of 2016 and 17 and 18 and 19. This is going to be a different administration.
Yeah, I think that's highly likely. But Harry says, and I can see you.
Yeah, it's going to be different, but that
all
don't mean it's
sorts of
different for the
faces
better.
There. And look, you've been
Good to see you too, Piers.
Good to see you. Always good to have you on Uncensored, even though you've been wrong spectacularly about almost every single thing you've said
Oh,
in
is
the
that so,
last
Piers? Is
calendar
that
year.
so?
But we'll gloss over that. As Cornel would say, I forgive you, my brother. It's fine for this being so wrong the entire time. But I do want to play you a clip from December 2020 when Joe Biden was asked by Jake Tapper at CNN about rumors that Donald Trump might issue some preemptive pardons before he left office.
President Trump is reportedly considering a wave of preemptive pardons. Does this concern you? All these preemptive pardons?
Well, it concerns me in terms of what kind of precedent it sets and how the rest of the world looks at us as a nation of laws and justice. You're not going to see in our administration that kind of approach to pardons, nor are you going to see in our administration the approach to making policy by tweets.
It's messed up because you see how much better Biden was speaking back then. It's just fucked up, man. You see, his speech pattern was better. He was more on point. Age is a motherfucker.
It's just going to be a totally different way in which we approach the justice system.
Harry, here's your chance to redeem yourself by just conceding that when Joe Biden said that, he was telling an absolute blatant lie, because he's now done preemptive pardons for just about anybody he can.
I just hate when he say when Piers calls something a lie, where circumstances dramatically change and people make different decisions. Why would he ever feel like he needs to make a preemptive pardon if Trump isn't out here saying, I'm going to go after everybody?
Think of. Do you accept that your main weapon against Trump has always been his alleged lack of veracity, as you put it? Do you accept now that that's gone? Because
I love how he makes everything just sound so much cleaner and nicer with Trump. Lack of veracity. Your problem with Trump is that he's a fucking liar and cares about himself. That's what we care about.
Actually, Biden himself just told endless porkies about stuff like preemptive pardons.
It's interesting, Piers, that you're arguing for the view that somebody's opinion on something can't change if circumstances change. So when President Biden made that claim, there was no threat toward Donald Trump or his family. And look at these guys, these losers laughing over here. But with Donald Trump appointing Kash Patel to the FBI, who said he wants to go...
Shut the fuck up!
Excuse me, be quiet. Wanting to appoint Kash Patel to the FBI, who said he wants to go after his political opponents. Donald Trump, who said he wants to appoint a special counsel to go after Biden's family. Kash Patel has a list of people that he wants to go after and prosecute. So you're asking me...
Harry got the same headphones I used to use, and those are trash. I just peeped. Them damn Sony headphones. Those motherfuckers are trash. He needs to get rid of them because I know he got more money than me. Get rid of them headphones, Harry. They absolutely ass. And they take batteries that die after you use them for probably 12 hours. They die. No, get rid of them damn headphones.
Wait, why did Biden do this? Why did he pardon his family? Maybe because the Trump DOJ and Trump's administration is promising to come after them. I'm perfectly fine with Joe Biden doing that, given the unjust attacks that they've suffered for the past 4 years as the Biden family. And I also just want to finish with one thing. I don't know why losers like Dave Rubin are up here, because 4 years ago he said if Biden serves full term, he'll retire. So I wonder why Dave Rubin hasn't retired yet when he said 4 years ago he'd do so if Biden served.
Wait, yes, oh my God, I need to hear what Dave say to this. Yes, yo, if I can get to this part, Dave Rubin, when he said if Joe Biden finishes out his 4-year term, I will retire and remove myself from the internet for good. For good. Bro, I have those headphones, bro. There you go. I seen it. I know what I'm looking at, bro. I had them same exact headphones. Look at Harry's. And now look at mine. I have them headphones. Oh wait, you can see that red dot. You can't see it on his shit. What's this lever? Yeah. So these are the headphones he's wearing right now. You see the little red circle right there? I mean, not red. I'm sorry, it's a red circle on the other side because of the right. You see that little indentation? And you look at his. I have them same headphones. These are trash. They take real batteries. They die quick. These motherfuckers is trash. And I know he makes more money than me. He needs to get some headphones. Them bitches bogus. Trying to help my fellow liberal out. He needs to get rid of them shits. I hate them. I hated them headphones. I hate them headphones. If my shit break or somewhere, whatever, I'll go back to them if I have to and transition. But no, them headphones is ass.
Served a full term. So go
right,
along,
child,
David, and
hush,
get out of here.
Hush, Hobbit, for just a moment.
Yeah, look at
No, for real. Dave Rubin said he's going to retire if Joe Biden finishes out his 4-year terms. Please respond and why you're not retired, you fucking piece of shit. You liar. You fucking idiot. Why aren't you retired?
Look at Dave Rubin doubling down on being wrong and lying. I thought you were retiring, Dave.
D-Nice, yeah, but you see, I ain't bullshitting. Them are the exact same headphones, ain't they? There's nothing different that you saw in them bitches, right?
What happened?
I said that in 2019 to illustrate the point back in 2019 that everyone knew, but mainstream media was hiding, which was that he was mentally compromised 5 years ago.
So you lied.
He has not.
Thank you for admitting that.
What type of cop out is that? You said, yo, I'm gonna clip it in the real. Oh God, I'm finna play it. I'm gonna play it right here, right now.
We are now
Okay, wait. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna pull it up. I got it. I know exactly where it's at.
Here we go. I'm going to make a bold statement. Michael, I'm going to make a bold statement today. Bold statement. Here we go. If Joe
November 30th, 2020.
Biden is sworn in on January 20th, 2021, and he completes a 4-year term, actually completes a 4-year term, I will retire. I will retire at the end of that term. That will be it. I will disappear in just over 4 years. 4 years and about a month and a half. That'll be it. That's how convinced. I will just disappear from public life altogether. I will delete all of my accounts, and then you'll never hear from me again. That's how convinced I am that it ain't gonna happen. He will not be president for 4 years. He either won't be president at all because of the election fraud and all that kind of stuff.
That's not
which,
true.
by the way, is gaining momentum. We're not even really covering it that much today, but it is actually gaining momentum. And Giuliani was at a hearing in Arizona today. They found some really bizarre stuff with these these late night 1 a.m. to 6 a.m. vote dumps. I think in Pennsylvania, Rand Paul was tweeting about it this morning. I mean, there's just some stuff going on, but I do not think that one way or another, Joe Biden will not be president for 4 years. Anyway, so with that in mind, I want to set a couple ground rules for how we're going to do this show. Rule number 4, I won't be a partisan hack. Oh, now we're equal. You call me whatever you want. You know what I mean? Like you could call me a fag right now. It wouldn't mean anything to me. I think it sounds crazy, but Trump's going to get 30% of the black vote, and they know it, and that's
Yo, like this. Hey, this funny because this channel literally covers Dave Rubin fails and is hilarious. Dave Rubin is the most wrong person on the internet, and it's so fucking funny.
why they're freaking out. People are saying, well, Sidney Powell is obviously insane. She's a conspiracy theorist and blah, blah, blah. Now, I still just don't buy that.
This is how you know he's a hack because he's so brazen about these claims and shit, and he's always wrong. That's how you know he's just full of shit.
I don't buy that this woman is just lighting herself on fire and has gone completely crazy. I suspect that she has some of the evidence that she's talking about, and she's going to try to lay it out in court.
The fact that Giuliani's leading this thing, this guy wins. He knows how to win. He knows how to fight. We talked about the mafia thing already. Like, he knows how to do this thing.
Shapiro, will you bake Rubin a wedding cake? So the answer is no.
Yeah.
I do not participate in activities that I believe are sinful.
If we were having an anniversary party, would you come?
You know, honestly, I'd have to think about it. I'd have to think about it in the same way.
So that's interesting to me.
Yeah,
that's a different thing.
Well,
we are entering an authoritarian future because, as I've said to you before, authoritarians love authoritarianism. So, the word demon is in demonetized.
So first off, I want to just say something. Sam and I were friends for many years. I'm not really sure.
Okay, that's enough. That's enough Dave Rubin fails. But y'all get the point. Like, this is Dave Rubin in a nutshell. That's how he get down.
Has not been, if you think he's really been president or making the decisions, Harry, you've been wrong about everything. It's not even worth addressing you. But let me, if I can make a point about the oligarchs.
Liars like you who say you're going to retire and then you don't.
All right. If I can make a point about referencing what Cornell said about the oligarchs, it's I think a little bit of low resolution thinking to look at the people standing behind Donald Trump and say, oh, they're oligarchs. These are job creators. Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos and some of those other people, and now bringing Zuckerberg in, and all of these people, whether you like them or not, whether you think everything they've done is good or not or anything else, these are innovators. These are people who have revolutionized industries and will continue to do so. They've created more jobs than any of us have or any of us all combined. So I don't think that just saying, oh, but there's these rich, successful people up there, it's not inherently bad. It's actually quite good because now they are going to help Donald Trump unleash the American economy.
Well, yeah, and also, look, I mean, in relation to someone like, hang on, Harry. I mean, Harry, look, in relation to someone like Elon
Harry,
Musk.
grow up.
Well, Harry, in relation to someone like,
Harry, he talking about grow up. That's not a response to you being a Russian fucking paid propagandist whether you knew it or not. Russia wanted to pay you for what you said.
And Harry, look, in relation to someone like Elon
Harry,
Musk.
grow up.
Well, also, look, I mean, in relation to someone like, well, hang on, Harry. I mean, Harry, look, in relation to someone like Elon
Harry,
Musk.
grow up.
Well, Harry, in relation to someone like,
you know,
Harry,
Russian funding was keeping Dave afloat for a while.
Harry, time out. Don't get personal.
Yeah, also.
That Piers, you piece of shit. That's not personal. That's public business. That's public knowledge that they was getting paid by Russia, whether he knew it or not. That's not personal. And you little bitch ass nigga, you don't call nobody out when they attack anybody on the left on personal shit or not. Somebody on, I believe, I'm not going to get into that, but you don't call anybody out there attack somebody on the left, whether it's personal or you. People have said way more unrelated shit than that, and you don't call out no personal shit. That wasn't even personal. That's political shit. He got paid for his words by Russia. That's political business. That's not personal.
So not true.
But when you talk about someone like,
it's not true. It is fucking true, Dave. You were getting paid by Russia. Whether you knew it or not is a different thing. But don't say it's not true. You fucking. You know, look at this stupid ass look on his face.
Harry, I mean, Harry, look, in relation to someone like Elon
Harry,
Musk.
grow up.
Well, Harry, in relation to someone like,
you know,
Harry,
Russian funding was keeping Dave afloat for a while.
Harry, time out. Don't get personal.
Yeah, also
don't
not
get
true.
personal.
When you talk about someone like,
not even personal, Piers, it's just fact.
Harry, I am actually trying to moderate a debate here. When Elon Musk,
you ain't
for
trying to
example,
moderate a debate. You're trying to be a part of a debate.
I mean, I couldn't think of a more classic American immigrant success story than a guy who comes to America. He creates some of the biggest, most successful companies in the history of planet Earth, almost all of which are specifically designed to help planet Earth, whether it's Tesla with green energy cars or Neuralink or SpaceX or whatever it may be. The idea that anyone like you would have a few years ago said there was inherently a big problem with somebody like Elon Musk, given what he's done for America, would be unthinkable. And yet now you do, because now he supports Donald Trump.
No.
Oh, no, hold on. I have no problem with any of Elon Musk.
I'll let Cornell answer that, actually. Cornell?
No, the point is this, though. We're talking about a...
He was like, first you asked Harry, and then you just took it off of him. Harry's like, what the fuck? You asked Harry first, and then you just moved it to Cornell.
System. Carnegie came from Scotland with hardly a dime and became a multi-millionaire. He was an oligarch during the Gilded Age. He was a robber baron. He had a system in which he was able to ascend to the top, but it was predicated on capitalist processes such that working people had tremendous difficulty gaining access to wages, and it was predicated on tremendous power over politicians. Now, does Musk have tremendous influence over politicians? Does Bezos and others? Of course they do. And what's interesting about this is, if Brother Trump had lost, he would have said the system is rigged. Both of the candidates with gangster elements in both parties were tied to billions of dollars. 90 million fellow Americans decided what? Not to vote at all. So I'm not denying that working class Americans would vote for Trump, because if the only alternative is a milquetoast Biden, then what other choice do you have? Many of those folks have voted for Bernie Sanders, have voted for Obama. The system itself is so corrupt. That's what we have to come to terms with.
Dave?
I think people are so over this type of thinking. There are so many millions of people in America who are so unbelievably excited right now, and we are about to see an 80s-style revolution and reignition of the American dream. I think we are going to see booms in every industry across the country, from entertainment to manufacturing. You talked about cars again today and automobiles. We are going to see people dream again. You know, we have been in a 4-year lull. We've been in a mini depression as a country because we ushered in all of the worst socialist ideas. I hate to tell Cornell, but capitalism is the best system out there to free the people. And we are going to usher in capitalism. We're going to deregulate.
Biden was absolutely a socialist. He was a socialist.
Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, they just give it, Biden's a socialist. Bro, you're lying. You don't believe Biden's a socialist, so why lie like this? This is crazy to me.
Oligarchic markets are not free markets at all, and Biden's no socialist. There's no socialism.
He's a communist. He's a Marxist. He has
he's a communist.
He's a communist. He's a Marxist. Like, bro,
raid their homes, Cornell.
These people
that is what
disgust
socialists,
me,
Marxists,
bro.
and communists do. When you have to give out pardons to
that's
your entire family,
That's authoritarianism.
When you have to get, I said it's different elements. You have socialism, communism, Marxism. That is the Democratic Party right now. But the part that I'm truly shocked that the two of you still.
What policy is socialist or Marxist? Like, this is what I'm saying. Like, or communist rather. I don't think he said Marxist. Socialist and communist. What? Name one policy that's socialist or communist. Why are you saying that? These people just keep trying to fear the right into thinking that people on the left wants to make the world, make America communist or socialist. Nobody is advocating for any, I ain't gonna say nobody. Anybody of importance or relevance is not advocating to make this country a socialist or communist. Stop saying that shit.
Don't understand is why Donald Trump.
And it's just like, even when the people on the left say Trump is an authoritarian, they don't say like this country is authoritarian country. He displays authoritarian behavior, and you can literally point to examples of it. whenever they say Marxist, socialist, communist, they can't point to a single example of anything that even if you want to disagree about like Trump being authoritarian, at least there's examples to work off of, and y'all can debate that. When y'all say that communist socialist shit, there's no example to debate on. There's none.
In 2020, and a lot of people didn't like him, and he came back now, and people absolutely love him. And what you're missing,
people absolutely love him. He didn't even get. Let me see the plurality.
Part of me's shocked, and part of me's glad that you're missing it, because it means you guys don't know how to fight him. Is that Donald Trump understood that there were people that were hurting in this country, and they were hurting so bad because of the policies that put Hunter Biden and James Biden and the Biden family ahead of the American people. When they weaponized, again, if that's what you see, this is why you lost. Because what you don't understand is when you weaponize the government the way that he did, when you go out there and the very last thing that you'll be remembered for is taking your criminal actions and covering them for your family. The last thing Joe Biden ever did in politics was give pardons to his criminal family members, Fauci and others on January 6th. The reason why he lost, the reason why Harris lost, is because they didn't give a crap about the American people. And it was so clear they didn't at the end. And that is exactly why you lost. And if you guys aren't paying attention to that, you're going to keep losing. I'm thankful for that. But if you don't understand, this is how you lost America.
I'm not here to defend Biden. I'm not defending Harris. I'm not defending the Democratic Party. I agree with elements of what you said. I just told you that one of the reasons why Trump won is because he poses as if he's a kind of populist because of the milquetoast neoliberal Democratic Party that didn't speak to working people, didn't speak to poor people, wars around the world, genocide in Gaza. I'm not a defender of a Democratic Party. Don't put me in that space. Don't put me in that space. You can tell the truth about the Republican Party and their greed and their neo-fascist sensibility.
I do need to have one thing clarified. What is the milquetoast reference? What's milquetoast?
Spineless, no backbone, no principle, lacking in integrity and character.
But did you vote
That's
for
true
him?
for both parties. That's all I'm saying. From Martin Luther King Jr.'s point of view, integrity, honesty, decency, character. You don't see it in Trump. You don't see it in Biden. You don't see it in either party. That's all I'm saying. We just disagree on that.
I just want to further expand upon my point that uneducated people voted for Trump more. This education, college graduate, more voted for Kamala. No college degree, voted for Trump. I'm not saying college is the end all be all, but take with this what you will. That's all I'm gonna say. That is all I'm gonna say.
But we'll see. Okay, I want to ask Harry. Okay, I want to ask Harry. Did he vote for Joe Biden?
Let me ask Harry this question. Harry Sissons, there's going to be. Hang on.
Did you vote for Joe Biden?
Hang on, guys. I'm going to Harry. Harry, there's going to be an executive order.
I voted for myself.
Cornell, time out. I'm going to Harry for a question.
Okay.
Here's my question for Harry. There's going to be up to 200 executive orders unleashed, right? Many have already been signaled, many have already been announced. Some were in the speech, some afterwards. We know what a lot of these things are going to be, Harry. I'm just curious, genuinely curious, which ones you have a big problem with, right? For example, would you contest the fact there is a crisis on the southern border?
No, I definitely think that there's a problem at the border, but it's just interesting that Donald Trump is declaring a national emergency on this, given the fact that the numbers right now at the border are similar or even lower than they were under Donald Trump's
administration. Well, the reason he's done that is because nearly 10 million. Hang on, Harry, the reason is that nearly 10 million illegal immigrants got into America on the southern border in the last 4 years. That's an emergency.
Actually, that's not true. The majority of people who have come in recent years have come in through asylum, meaning that they are legal. You can keep saying yes, it is all you want. You just don't know what you're talking about. The majority of people who have come in through asylum, meaning that they're legal immigrants.
So how many illegal immigrants came in your special numbers that you find in some special place? Out of your ass, how many came in?
Just stop talking. Just stop. Nobody needs to.
No, I want to know how many you think came in illegally.
Majority of people come in through asylum. Now, Joe Biden tried to rewrite the asylum laws to make it harder for people to claim asylum improperly, and Republicans like Donald Trump blocked the bill. So it's fascinating to me that this is Donald Trump's day one executive order, and it's also for this Ferguson guy over here.
Can
you be quiet for 5 seconds?
Can you just agree with me, Harry? Harry, to be fair,
hold on,
Harry, just to remind you, the first thing you did was agree with me. There's a crisis on the southern border. So why wouldn't you agree?
No, he did not agree that there's a crisis on the southern border. He agreed that there's a problem with the asylum process. That is not the same thing. And to be fair, you could classify that as a crisis at the border, but you're pretending as if there's a bunch of people just spilling into this country undocumented and they're illegally here. That's not the issue. The issue is that the asylum process is broken, so people are legal immigrants, but we're just taking probably more than we should.
There should be an emergency order.
Well, I'm just curious as to where the emergency is. I think there's a crisis of the law. The law is lacking. I would like
to see Donald Trump. It's the process. It's not people flooding into the country illegally.
To rewrite the asylum law.
So you think there's a crisis, but you shouldn't do anything about it. All right.
What type of characterization is that of what he said?
Do you think the cartel gangs should be designated terrorist groups? Yes or no?
No problem.
No problem with that. Great. Okay.
Wait, can I take?
No, hang on. Do you think America has? Do you think there should be more than 2 genders in America?
Yeah, I don't know what that executive order means. I don't know what the president declared.
It means there are 2 genders, male and female. Would you disagree with that?
How many genders are there, Harry? Come on, little guy. How many genders are there?
Again, these guys don't know what they're talking about, so they won't be able to.
Harry, how many genders are there?
How many genders are there, Harry?
How many genders are there?
What's the leak? I'm going to use Joe Biden's answers. At least 2. At least 2. That satisfies.
How many more are there than male, female?
That's a TikTok answer.
There's at least 2.
Yeah.
There's at least 2.
Well, no, hang on. There's male and female.
Like human brain
Donald
rot.
Trump says it's male and female. There are 2.
Okay, Dave
how many
Russell,
more
Rubin,
are there after male and female, Harry?
There's at least 2. Now, anyway, let me get back
What
to
would you
it.
at least
How many
2?
more are there?
What are the other ones?
There's at least 2.
What are the
There's
other
at least
ones?
2.
Harry, let's try it this way. You're a female. What is the other gender?
It's so funny. It's so funny how these conservatives just.
I feel like it's. I mean, yeah. If you agree with them, you're gonna like agree and think this looks crazy. It's a tough situation because Harry doesn't want to fall off of his fucking morals and principles, which nobody on the right has. There's no morals and principles on the right, but he doesn't want to fall away from them. But it does look bad optically. So I don't know if I would have gave into this and was just like, yeah, it's 2, but saying at least 2 isn't even like a non-answer. It's an answer. How many genders are there? I know there's at least 2. So he's kind of conceding that I don't want to give an answer that's incorrect while you're asking me something that I'm unsure about, which is fair, but they see it as not living in reality or there's 75 genders and all that. He's just saying, to my understanding, there's at least 2, and I don't want to give a number because I don't know. But they're laughing like, you can't answer if it's more than 2 genders. And it's just kind of like, I don't feel comfortable saying it's only 2 because I don't know that information. Now, you're saying gender, which is also probably making this conversation not effective because male and female is sex. That's not the same thing as genders, which is why he keeps saying there's at least 2. He understands that man and woman are genders in and of themselves, and though that's 2 of them, and anything beyond that, he don't want to give a hard number because he does not fully comfortable giving a hard number. But there is male and female, which 99% of Americans agree on. There is a male and there's a female in the vast number of cases. There's intersex people, of course, but again, I'd say 99%.
Just get time to lie on this show, but when I'm speaking, they all
We
trust
asked
and
the
there's
damn
no problem.
question.
You've just been asked a very simple
And
question.
he answered it, and y'all just don't want to accept it.
The conversation with Piers, not you, Mr. Como, relax.
Harry, you simply got asked if there are at least 2 genders, how many more are there than male and female?
He said there's at least 2, meaning I don't want to give a hard number because I'm not sure. Talking about if there's at least 2, how many more? The answer is at least 2. Like, I get it. Like, optically, this does look bad for Harry, especially for an audience like Pierce's. So I get it, but it's not a non-answer. That's the thing. There's a such thing as a damning non-answer. That's not a non-answer. It's an answer.
You asked me about Donald Trump's executive order. I'm trying to explain how legally it makes absolutely no sense and it's going to get sued in court. Then we go into culture wars with Dave Rubin, this Ferguson guy, asking how many genders are there.
No, I'm
trying to answer
asking
your question.
you.
They're screaming their faces off.
I'm asking you.
Fucking matter.
I'm
Harry,
asking you.
Oh God, this
And
child.
Piers,
I'm asking you, Harry. How many genders are there?
Your question.
Harry,
Piers, I've answered your question.
Harry, how many genders are there?
2. There are at least 2.
2 or at least 2?
That's a full-blown answer. That's an answer. Like, there's at least 2. If you ask me how many, I don't know, how many rabbits do you think exist? I'd be like, at least like 100 million. Well, how many? It's like, I don't know, but at least 100 million. Like, I don't know how many rabbits exist, but that's what I'm saying. Like, if you ask me that, it's like, well, I don't know the number. I don't know this answer for certain. How many skyscrapers are there? I don't know. My guess, at least 40, 45. How many skyscrapers are there? At least 45. I don't know. Like, I get you could be like, well, no more than blah. But that with something as nuanced, which skyscrapers aren't nuanced, and something like gender it has nuance. That's why he's saying at least 2. And the right don't want to accept that. That's just all it is. It's just, and I don't mind having a conversation with, like, if you accept this as a starting point that we acknowledge male and female, and when we start talking about gender, maybe there's a conversation to be had, and you can make your points and I'll make mine. I'm not saying that we can't just only say man and woman, but I'm not open to the idea that there is something that can exist between the 2 or beyond the 2.
Hang on, Ben. I've got
More
this.
or less than 100.
Can I answer the question?
Yes, Cornell. Answer the question.
Can I answer the question,
Yes.
Brother Harry? Brother Harry,
Yes, help him out, Cornell.
That according to Shakespeare, all of us are androgynous. There are men and there are women. There are different sides of human
Harry,
beings,
like,
all
nah,
made
don't
in the
speak
image
for
of a
me.
God that has a
This is what I
dignity
think,
and
right?
a sanctity.
Harry said, that's not
and if you're
my
going to try
answer.
to start demonizing precious trans folk, then I'm going to be fighting. But it's not. But
Okay, Gordon, I agree
I'm
with
going to
them.
be
I agree
fighting.
with
These people so fucking corny, bro.
them.
He had that hat on standby to do that. That's crazy.
I agree. Don't
This
demonize
is all the
trans
left
folks, but
has
there is
left. It's
executive
really
order I take
extraordinary.
I've got to say, the torturous
No, that's not all the
answers.
left has left. We got a whole
I
lot
think when you
more waiting
reduce
for
to
you, brother
quoting
Rubin. You just
Shakespeare,
watch.
Cornell, when you reduce to quoting
Cornell need a
Shakespeare,
damn
It's
laugh
gonna be
mic if you
humanistic.
gotta reach down to talk, bro.
Across the
This
board.
court member out there with so
Tired
many
of you
MAGA
all
hats. Take them off
demonizing
your
the
head,
weak.
buddy. It's weird.
I'm
Take
just
them off
showing
your
why we
head.
won, bro. 'cause
Nobody's
you can't answer the
demonizing
question how
I'm
many
for
genders there
girls
are.
playing girls in
Winning
girls'
at the moment
sports.
doesn't mean that you're
Why
right.
are you talking about sports? Nobody's talking about fucking sports, bro.
Brother, just because you won
Hey,
at the
Dave,
moment
how many
doesn't mean
trans
that you're
athletes
right.
are in college
You know
sports?
that. You know that from
Hey,
history.
Dave,
Cornell,
hey,
please.
Rubin, how many trans athletes are in college sports? Does anyone know?
Exactly.
If there's one biological male beating a girl in a sport,
Yeah,
it's
look
one
at
too
this.
many.
This guy's absolutely no idea what he's talking about. Now, can we get back
It's not.
the executive orders I disagree with by any chance?
Yeah, sure. But what about that one about the two genders? I can't work out
Two genders. Let's go back to that.
Well, hang on, I can't work out whether you agree or
answer.
disagree. Donald Trump says specifically, Harry, there are two genders, male and female, that's it. You think there are at least two, which normally
Correct.
means there are more than two. So what are the others?
Interpret as you will, but I think
No,
that
you tell
executive
me.
order is stupid.
Tell me, what are the others?
I've given you my answer.
What are the
One,
others?
two. You can interpret
Give
as
us
you
Harry,
will.
what are the other
You guys keep
genders?
running wild with interpretations here. I'm
Harry,
telling you my answer is at
Harry,
least two. Now,
Harry.
on the legitimacy of the
I'm trying
executive
to
order,
be-
it makes
I'm
no
trying to be
sense. What's
humane.
legal mechanism for enforcement?
Harry,
That's what I'm
This is
asking.
why I hate
Harry,
TikTok babies.
wait, Harry, when you say there are at least two
Be
genders,
quiet. Ted Cruz's buddy over here with the
Harry,
program needs to be quiet.
it's Piers talking to you.
I know
I
there's
simply
two
want to know,
genders.
Harry. You said you wanted to go back to the list of executive orders, whether you agreed or not. You say
You
there
have
are.
my answer, Piers. My answer doesn't change.
No, but your answer doesn't make any sense. What do you mean?
It's
at least
stupid. It
two?
doesn't make any sense.
It does make sense. You don't like it. It makes sense though. At least two. I'm not confident giving more than one because I'm not familiar with. I don't have the information to give you an answer that's more accurate. And Harry should articulate that, but.
Piers, you can think my answer doesn't make any sense. You're going to ask me the question again. We're going to go back and forth.
No,
I'm
I'd like you to explain what you mean.
It makes no sense.
No,
This executive order is
I'm asking you
nonsense.
what you mean by at least two genders.
I'm saying at least two.
What does that mean?
At least there are. What do you? What's the? I'm not sure what you're confused
Does that
about.
mean there are more?
Mean that's what I'm saying. Like Piers acting like he don't understand English because he just wants him to say like six, but it's just like there's at least two, bro. Like that's what I know. That's what I know. There's at least two. I don't know where it goes. I don't know where it stops beyond that. To be fair, he could be like no more than 8. I don't know, but he could say that. But if he's not comfortable with that, then he's not comfortable with it. I don't know how dishonest it is, but he didn't say how many. What's the most? He didn't ask that. So
More than two, or there are
There's
two.
at a minimum. There's at a minimum two.
This is exactly why the
This is
Democrats
it.
on
Yes.
these issues got
Yes.
themselves
You
into
guys are
so
such
much
losers.
difficulty
You guys are such
because they
losers.
literally
We
cannot
literally
explain
just
what
won
they're
an
talking
election.
about.
Trump is a
If you're
convinced
saying
person.
don't call us losers,
All right,
it's
Donald
the day
Trump, I
we
want
just
Dave
figured
Rubin
out.
to respond. Dave Rubin, this to me is exactly why the Democrats lost the plot. They can't even explain
look.
what they mean when they say this crap.
Look, Harry perfectly exemplifies everything wrong with the modern left and the Democrat Party. He can't tell you how many genders there are, and then all he can do is hurl insults. That's exactly what the
how
Democrats
he can only hurl insults like you ain't been insulting him while he was talking.
and the
Were you
media
just calling me a
machine
child
has
earlier?
done.
Right.
Or you are a
Is the
child. That's not an
hypocrisy
insult.
not
You're a child.
astounding?
How old are you?
Is the-
12?
What do you mean? What is a child? Isn't a child under 18? He's not under 18. So why are you calling him a child?
Hypocrisy not
Anyway,
astounding.
Young man is perfectly fine. He's not under 18. So you calling somebody that's not under 18 a child is an insult. Because you'll be mad if somebody that was 70 called you a child, right?
Do you feel no shame when you say something like that? Is hypocrisy not absolutely astounding, Dave?
No, they don't know what hypocrisy is because they just live in it. And it's just a normal thing that is just ever present and ever substantiated in their world. Hypocrisy, it just doesn't exist for conservatives. It's just, this is me. This is life. This is where I'm at. Hypocrisy.
Be quiet. Get a job, kid. Listen.
Shame.
Listen. This
Look,
is
you're
exactly
doing it
this,
right
this
now.
smug,
You're doing it right now,
nonsensical
Dave.
drivel is
Oh,
what
the
everyone
hypocrisy is astounding.
Piers, if you may remember, what was it, a few months ago? I think it was a day before Joe Biden stepped down when Harry and I were on the panel, and he was saying how brilliantly sharp and
And I remember that you said you were going to retire if Joe Biden makes it a full 4 years, and yet you're here on Piers Morgan still having an opinion on politics after you said you would retire and remove yourself from all of the internet.
ever sharper. He's, oh my God, his brain is so great. Joe Biden is the best. And then the next day,
They
he
did
gets
hire
the talking
TikTokers
points
to
from
say
the
that, in all
DNC.
fairness.
And he's a, yes, they pay these people. It's as simple as that.
Yeah,
That's
Russia
why
pays
TikTok tells you how many
commentators.
genders there
Russia
are.
pays conservative commentators.
All right, let me ask
That's
Cornell. I want to bring Cornell back.
Yeah.
I want to bring Cornell back.
Okay.
I want to bring Cornell back.
Company funneled right through.
I want to bring Cornell back. Cornell, this whole idea
Come on,
of
Harry, don't
DEI,
let him vote him.
diversity,
Don't let
equity,
him vote him.
inclusion. Trump is on the rampage about this, and I sort of feel he's right. I feel like it went way too far far to the extent that mediocrity started to be pushed forward above meritocracy.
No, it hasn't.
Well, you see, I was never one to be obsessed with DEI. The spirit of Martin Luther King Jr., which is not being manifested in our conversation, which is one of openness, sensitivity, recognizing people can agree and agree to disagree, and recognizing all of us are cracked vessels. And DEI began because of the vicious legacy of white supremacy in America, where you had 100 years of black people enslaved and another 100 years of Jim and Jane Crow. Does everybody on this screen agree that slavery and Jim Crow are evil?
Yes.
Can we get an agreement on that?
Of course, but America was not a white supremacist nation.
So we had to respond and we had to do something about it. We had to do something about it. What that meant was there was already some mediocrity in the system before the black folk and brown folk and others came in. It's called white male mediocrity. That had been part and parcel. There was white male excellence too. There was white male mediocrity. And the question became broadening the pool to make sure you had merit and those who deserved access. What happened when you talk about the social engineering? I can relate with that. I'm not a social engineer.
Hold on, sorry, y'all. God damn. Just had a whole ass mishap.
Yeah, I want fairness.
All right, don't
I want
talk over each
fairness
other.
across the board.
Okay,
I don't want rhetoric. I want fairness across the board.
Let me bring in Ben. My question, I don't dispute a lot of what Cornell just said, Ben, other than it wasn't really...
Let me say this.
Well, hang on, let me just make the point. I want to make the point. It wasn't really the answer to my question, which was, has the pendulum of DEI swung too far, where actually the same problem that Cornell identified, rightly, about what was going on in the slavery years, completely right to say that, but has it gone too far now as a corrective tool, where actually mediocrity has surpassed meritocracy? And who does that help when that happens? I think nobody.
I would say, based on what we just saw out of the Biden administration and leadership, the answer is yes. But I go back to Martin Luther King's dream. If you look at Martin Luther King's dream, his dream was not to have people succeed or fail based on the color of their skin. It was to choose the best regardless of their skin color. And that was the dream he talked about that people seem to have forgotten. It was a dream he talked about in Memphis, my hometown, the day he was assassinated. He talked about the day before. And what his dream was not to have a pie that is, okay, how many transgender people do we have in the pie, or gay, or lesbian, or black, or white, or Hispanic, and have a kumbaya pie. His goal was that you never judge someone based on the color of their skin. His goal was to say the best should lead. The best should succeed. It should be merit-based. It should not be based on if you're black, white, Hispanic, gay, lesbian. I don't even think could have imagined transgenderism the way we have it now. And that is what you're missing here, is that what Donald Trump is saying is, give me the best and the brightest. Don't give me some kumbaya pie that is a mandate for 17 transgendered and 17 gay and 17 straight and 17 black and 17 white and make up 100 people. He's saying, give me the best and the brightest regardless of any of that. That was Martin Luther King's dream that he had for this country. And when you do DEI, the way that the left has done it, you're saying, no, we only want these certain things first and foremost.
That's not what's happening. You're lying.
And everyone else shut up and sit down. That is not the American dream that Martin Luther King had.
Yeah, I mean, Harry Sissons, how can you disagree with that in all good conscience?
I don't even know what the hell he just said. He just ranted for like 2 minutes about absolutely nothing. Yeah, no, he just ranted for 2 minutes.
You don't understand what he said. It was pretty damn clear, dude.
Look, he wants to bring up MLK and his dream, and the idea that he supports Donald Trump while simultaneously supporting MLK is laughable. I think
how is that laughable
for everybody?
How is that laughable
for everybody? Just I'll explain it if you just stop talking. Nobody needs to hear you speak 24/7. I guarantee it. Donald, it's just ironic that he supports Donald Trump and MLK because a lot of Donald Trump's policies are directly hurting a lot of the people that MLK advocated for. Even if you're talking about working class Americans, I'm happy to tell you again if you'd stop talking. Working class Americans, like with tariffs, for example, MLK spoke extensively about helping middle class Americans come up through the ranks. With these tariffs, it's just going to raise costs for everybody. All these folks have been complaining about high prices for 4 years.
Which tariffs?
25% tariffs on Canada, where we get a bunch of our lumber and our oil, for example. That'll make everything more expensive. And 10% more tariffs on China, 25% tariffs on Mexico. My God.
Harry don't interrupt people for the most part. Harry don't be interrupting nobody. And then as soon as they interrupt, he doesn't give a fuck and just lets it happen. That shit is annoying, bro.
Every major economist agrees that this stuff is going to raise prices. So when you're saying, I support MLK and I support Donald Trump,
please acknowledge the hypocrisy of yourself.
And also have some self-control. Have some self-control.
Look at what was said in Canada's newspapers today. If you look at what you just said today, what you don't understand is it's called leverage. And if you look at the markets today, they're responding to the idea that there's not going to be a 25% tariff on oil and liquid natural gas.
Really, because Donald Trump just talked about the one big bill he wants to pass when he gets into president before he took office, and he said that tariffs were included in that.
He has not implemented anything that you just described.
Is Donald Trump lying? Is Donald Trump lying? Is Donald Trump lying about putting in tariffs then?
Look, I didn't know.
He can't admit it. He can't admit it.
If you read a book called The Art of the Deal, which I recommend you read, it's very entertaining. The Art of the Deal actually involves knowing how to leverage. Right? It's a key part of doing business. Is that you don't always show your hand off the top. Anyway, look, there's a bit too much bro energy raging. We're going to have a little break for the bros for a couple of minutes. We're going to bring in Emily Maitlis from the Newscasters podcast, because the president's relationship with the traditional media, the enemy of the people, as he sometimes puts it, already appears to be changing. Major networks are notably shifting from dictator to diplomacy. Emily, I suspect, might not be so easily won over, and joins me now. We've got a clip of her here talking about Trump.
When Donald Trump talked about the eating cats and dogs, half of America was just thinking, this is bad. I can't believe what he's saying. This is going to be the end of him.
Swearing. I'm so sorry.
So, Emily, you're in DC.
So
what I've been
hungry,
really struck by with Trump's win this time,
I'm finna go probably pop some in the microwave.
of the same resistance that
Piers
existed
entertain
8 years
y'all
ago.
for a
No
second.
great marches, no great protests. The media, much more supine, much more respectful now to the reality,
And is gonna take
and
a
so
couple-
on, which I suspect in turn
take like
will bring the
6
best out of
minutes
Trump,
to
not the
cook.
worst, because he's by nature a pugilist. But how do you feel about it? Are you sensing that as well?
Yeah, I am, completely. And Washington feels very odd this time, partly obviously because
That
the whole
boy's
ceremony
strong as
moved
hell.
indoors, the rotunda, the streets are really empty, the mall was completely empty, and I guess a lot of people who'd kind of come to see him
She
because of the
sound
cold
like AI.
just stayed indoors. There was a protest last night, but it wasn't huge. And I remember the morning after Inauguration Day, the morning after was a Saturday, and the Women's March basically took over the whole of DC, and we reckon there must have been
I got
1 million people on the
OCD,
streets
y'all,
then.
sorry.
I don't think we're going to see that again. And partly I think it's just a fact of novelty. You know, we're sort of all feeling the same muscle memory, maybe of 8 years ago, but you don't have George Bush, standing there saying, what is all this, batshit talk, because we're slightly more used to it. We know what Trump looks and sounds
I'm
like.
finna
We
go
know
put
what he
some in the
wants to do.
microwave, y'all.
And
Hold on.
the American Carnage
Y'all
speech,
listen to
even
her and
of
her
8 years
accent.
ago, I thought was pretty much echoed today. I mean, I didn't find it any more moving or any less moving. It certainly wasn't particularly gracious, but it kind of did what it said. He gave us a shopping list of everything that he wants to get done. And I think we're just more used to it now. So maybe that's why. I mean, maybe that's why people are kind of not pushing back. Maybe it's also because the win this time was so broad. It wasn't insoluble in the sense that I don't think the Democrats could reverse it in 4 years' time. But it was broad. It was both houses. It was the popular vote, something that Trump took time out in his inaugural speech to tell us. And I think that is a real source of pride for him, that nobody can start sort of digging into that and saying, well, he didn't win this or he didn't win that. And I think there is more acceptance maybe because of that.
Yeah, I mean, I also think that it's really interesting to see all the people as part of his broligarchy. If you look at people like Elon Musk, RFK Jr., Tulsi Gabbard, Joe Rogan, all these people, they were all on the other side. They've all decamped to Trump. And if you look at Zuckerberg and Bezos and these guys, whose own platforms, certainly in Zuckerberg's case, were unashamedly in opposition to Trump, now performing these screeching U-turns. There's been a real, as Trump would call it, a movement to him, but there's been a movement away from Democrats. And I think it's partly policy, no question, but I think also this whole cultural aspect to it, the sort of cultural revolution of DEI, wokeism, all these things. I think this has been a repudiation of much of that. That actually, a lot of Americans went, we're just done with it. Sorry, we're done with all this. And that's why the Trump commercial, which ended with Kamala's for they, them, Donald Trump's for you, was so effective. What do you think?
I think it's about expediency, first and foremost, and I think it's about fear. If the incoming president is threatening to put you in jail and you'd kind of like to avoid that and you'd like to stop your company going under and you'd like to stop Elon Musk getting all the limelight, then you kind of do whatever you need to do. And I interviewed Mark Zuckerberg, then Facebook, about a decade ago, when Facebook was just starting up, and he doesn't seem like a politically engaged guy, particularly. His idea of Facebook was just running with your friends, sharing recipes with your friends, hooking up with your friends. I don't think he was thinking ever in terms of being a publisher. And so in some senses, when the diktat came in the first time round from Biden, from lawmakers during the first Trump era, of like, how did you let this happen? How did you let democracy, get overturned? How did you stop fact checking? I think he brought in the fact checks slightly against his natural will, and I think now he's very good at going with the political wins. He's a businessman. He wants to do whatever keeps the people in power happy. But it's really interesting that while we've been sitting here watching, the bros, the sort of the broligarchy behind Trump, if you're not part of that, but you are part of the tech circle, if you're watching this from Davos, you're kind of scared. You're thinking, why aren't I there? Why aren't I part of that? Am I losing out because I'm not getting the same vibes that the sort of the six chosen ones are coming? And some of them, I'm hearing stories, some who are very well connected, who have been very strong Democrat supporters, weren't actually getting enough support from Biden in the last 4 years of the administration.
No.
They weren't getting help on the kind of stuff that they wanted help with.
We're going to play a clip with Steve Bannon on this very issue because he's really against the broligarchy, and in particular, Trump's very close friendship now with the tech oligarchs.
I'm going to put
Zuckerberg's,
put a be right back screen up.
road to Damascus came a little late. It was after the 5th of November. It's very, now he wants to be a bro. He kung fu fights. He's going to UFC. He's got his hair done differently. He's got, that doesn't hack it with me. That guy will flip on President Trump, and he'll flip on us in a second. When it's convenient for him, he will flip.
You called Elon Musk a truly evil person.
Yeah.
It's a little harsh.
He said that the MAGA movement was a bunch of racists and that they should be turfed out of the Republican Party. He may or may not mean that, but to me, there has to be an accounting for that.
Dave Rubin, I mean, there is a real sort of split here, isn't there, between...
Okay, I'm going to be right back out. Shit. All right, y'all.
Die-hard MAGA like Steve Bannon. And those on the Republican side prepared to just accept this for what it is. And actually, the more people who run great big social media platforms who come to the Republican side, the better. Where do you sit with this?
Sure. I'm not sure how big the divide really is. I mean, we had that week before Christmas when everyone was fighting about H-1B visas. I think there is some nuanced version of all of this that they will get to some answer on. But I want to address what Bannon said there about Zuckerberg, because that actually gets to the heart of this. Look, I don't know, like none of us on this panel, or really anyone outside of Mark Zuckerberg himself, I don't know what's in his heart. So he had this mea culpa. He's seemingly coming around, but I never heard him say, I'm sorry. So I do agree. Had the election gone the other way, would he be doing this? Probably not. But that also gives you opportunity. And this is what Donald Trump is a master of. Donald Trump is a master of taking people who used to not like him or who he didn't like, seeing the winds change, and then
Donald Trump is a master of taking people who he did not like and didn't like him, making them fearful for their careers and their livelihood, and then making them loyalists to him and support him. And threatens, because he threatens their livelihood. That's what he does.
Bringing them in. So if, because the culture has changed and because Donald Trump is now president, if that enables Mark Zuckerberg to respect the First Amendment and free speech more honorably than he did under the previous administration, that would be great. At the same time, I would also say that I would love to hear Mark Zuckerberg, he went on Rogan and he said that the government was calling Facebook and berating them to take down posts. Well, how about at least tell us who from the government did that? Could we at least know their names? That would be pretty good. So I think there's more he can do. And I would, again, I'm as suspect as Bannon is when it comes to Zuckerberg, but all of these guys being up there, whether it's Musk, who was a Democrat his entire life, or it's Bezos, who owns the freaking Washington Post, or it's Zuckerberg or any of these guys, he's bringing together the people who are literally leading the AI tech revolution that, whether you like it or not, is happening. So it's going to happen. And I would rather be on the side of bringing more people in and dealing with these things transparently. Let's not forget the whole H-1B visa thing. The fight happened transparently. It didn't happen the way they got rid of Biden behind closed doors. It all happened on Twitter where you could see the fight. That's America actually at its best. That's what the battle of ideas is all about.
Piers, this goes back to when Donald Trump met with leaders that people said you couldn't meet with.
Sorry,
hang on, Ben.
Sorry.
My last word is this.
Yes.
That the splits are going to increase because when you have an allegiance to profit-making and greed and not to public interest and common good, and when you don't have the right integrity, honesty, and decency, lo and behold, the spiritual decay, it becomes more manifest. But we just have to keep fighting and keep trying to tell the truth. And Martin said, truth crushed earth will rise again.
Dr. Cornel West, always great to have you on Uncensored. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, my brother.
Ben, back to you.
I want to go back to one of the reasons why I think he's brought in these guys. This is Donald Trump's policy. He went and met with leaders that people said you don't even talk to. You have zero dialogue with. He was willing to pick up the phone and talk to anyone. North Korea didn't matter. He would talk to them. And if you look at what Zuckerberg did, for example, this is a guy that spent hundreds of millions of dollars in bucks to influence the election. The idea, as your guest said earlier, he's not really a political guy, is insane. He spent more money than anyone else on the Democratic side in the last presidential election. So the idea that he's non-political is absurd. But what I think Donald Trump saw here was an opportunity to sit down with someone and say, let's have a dialogue. Let's talk about it. I also think what changed Musk and Zuckerberg possibly is the fact that even when they'd done what all they had done to help the Democratic Party, the Democratic Party still threatened them in their businesses. That's what Zuckerberg said during that podcast. He's like, dude, I limited all this stuff. I gave all this.
That's what he said. It had no proof. I'm just so sick of them running with, like, there's like Republicans and conservatives be like, if it agrees with me and I have no proof, then yes, I believe it. People on the left tend to only go with what the facts and the actual proof of whatever's being claimed is displayed. Y'all run with shit people say and just take their word for it, which is why y'all follow Trump, I guess, because he doesn't prove half the shit he says. And people on the left be like, well, where's the proof? And y'all be like, they said it, that happened. And it's just like, bro, I don't, even if, excuse me, Zuckerberg, whether he's on the left or right, he didn't prove none of that shit. I don't just assume that that's what happened, bro, especially as a singular person making a claim. Like, it's a pattern of behavior that people around Trump quit or get fired because they don't go along with what he say. These are different people with different motives to even go along with what he does. There's people that go along with it. There's people that have agreed with him and disagree with him that all say that Trump is not easy to work with. What does that tell you, bro?
This money, and they still cussed out my employees and tried to investigate every aspect of my company that I built. And when you do that, like they do in Russia and China and other countries, except this was happening under Biden and Harris, it makes Donald Trump look a lot more appealing to sit down and talk to and work with. And I think that's the art of the deal here from their perspective.
Yeah, I mean, Harry, I want to talk to you specifically about TikTok because your biggest following is on TikTok. So until the weekend, you must have been sweating away because your whole power base on that platform was about to disappear. And then the Lone Ranger arrives to save the day, Donald Trump. Do you want to take this opportunity to thank President Trump for so far saving TikTok for you, therefore personally enriching you?
Yeah, so I've said previously that if Donald Trump or anybody, any politician, saves TikTok and prevents it from a ban, I'll give them credit that they deserve. But I also think it's important to point out. Yeah, I mean, I'm not absolved of that.
So do you want to say thank you, Donald, at this stage or not?
Oh no, I would never thank a sexual abuser for anything. I don't think.
Oh right.
But I do want to point out
when you say you give him credit, what do you mean? What credit do you give
hold on. Let me just give some context here, though. I do want to point out that Donald Trump did sign an executive order when he was president the first time to ban TikTok. So the reason that this conversation started was because of Donald Trump in 2022 and 2023. People like Charlie Kirk, and I'm sure maybe these folks over here that I don't know for sure, were advocating for the banning of TikTok. And now when Donald Trump gets some money from people who have stake in it, and he sees an opportunity to become more popular with Gen Z, then he flips his position.
Not
He's
what
a
happened.
flip-flopper. So am I thankful?
Wait a minute, Harry,
Harry,
are you?
And I also want to point out that
Harry
Joe Biden
tacitly admitting that TikTok is Chinese spyware? Are you admitting that it's owned by the Chinese government and that it's spying on Americans?
I don't know how you could have gotten that from me saying that Donald Trump wanted to ban TikTok, but of course you draw conclusions that aren't there.
Dave Rubin is stupid ass gotcha that didn't exist.
So am I thankful?
Wait a minute, Harry, are you?
And I also want to point out that
Harry
Joe Biden
tacitly admitting that TikTok is Chinese spyware? Are you admitting that it's owned by the Chinese government and that it's spying on Americans?
I don't know how you could have gotten that from me saying that Donald Trump wanted to ban TikTok, but of course you draw conclusions that aren't there.
That's just insane. Because that's how people live on the right. They just say shit and be hoping it sticks, and when it sticks, they go for it, and if it don't, they try to move to something else.
Dave Rubin. Anyway, I also want to point out that Joe
Piers,
Biden laid the foundation
honestly.
Imagine being so butthurt on somebody's show that you tell the host, well, Lord Jamar knows all about this. You tell the host who they can and cannot put on their show because they're shitting on you. That is the craziest shit I've ever heard, bro. I've never seen anybody on the left, even when they look dumb in these debates because they're outnumbered by people on the right, on Piers. I've never seen them say, you got to stop putting these people on. They be getting shitted on. The people on the left get shitted on by 7 people at one time on this show. And they never say, you got to stop putting these people on. Bro, like, D-Nice, you feel me, bro? I'm glad you still rocking with me. I didn't even know you were still in here, bro. I appreciate you. But yes, bro, he just pulled that out his ass. Then when he had a retort that he knew he couldn't rebuttal from, the man just say, you got to stop putting these people on your show. Bitch, if you don't man up and go back and forth with this nigga.
You know, Piers, you're such an embarrassment. You took Russian money on your show. Why would you let somebody who took Russian money on your show?
Tulsi and RFK are no longer Democrats.
You really are.
Tulsi and RFK, 2 people. Meanwhile, there was like over 200 or 300 fucking Republicans that said they was going to vote for Kamala.
Money funneling to the... Anyway, let me finish, Dave. Would you just be quiet, please? Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you for being obedient. Joe Biden laid the foundation for TikTok to stay alive in the United States. He said that they won't enforce the law, that they're going to let the enforcement go to Donald Trump and his administration. So that laid the foundation.
Is TikTok Chinese spyware?
Because, do you have evidence to suggest that it is, Dave?
Yes. Oh, hell of a lot of it.
Yes. Oh, please.
Yes.
Lay it on.
I know you make money from them, but hell yes.
Wait, so it is Chinese spyware, but y'all are praising Trump for bringing TikTok back. So are you going to criticize Trump for bringing Chinese spyware into America? Or no, because it's Trump?
Lay it on us, guys.
They won't let you have it on
lay it on us, guys. Lay it on us, guys. What's the evidence?
Okay,
What's the evidence
let's go through it.
Harry, is Chinese TikTok different than American TikTok? Yes or no?
It actually is, you fucking numbnuts.
Yeah, yes, it is.
Oh,
so I'm still waiting for all this evidence. I'm still waiting for all this evidence that you guys says is so present. And by the way,
okay, I'll give it to you. I'll give it to you. Listen carefully.
Wait, let me finish this really quickly. Ferguson, let me finish this really quickly. I'll let you speak. Let me finish.
I love how when Harry talks, he gets just trampled all over, and Piers is sitting there with this fucking stupid ass tight-lipped smirk with his ass. Don't say shit.
Finish, then I'll let you speak. Ferguson, I'm done. Let me finish, then I'll let you speak. If you guys are arguing that it's Chinese spyware, are you saying that Donald Trump is currently arguing for a spyware a mobile device?
No, because you again, this is.
No. How is that a no? That should have been a yes. There's no no to that. You just said TikTok is Chinese spyware. Trump kept TikTok for Americans. And he said, so are you arguing that Trump is keeping Chinese spyware in America? You said no. I don't get how we got here, bro.
Are you saying that Donald Trump? Let me finish, then I'll let you speak. Ferguson, I'm done. Let me finish, then I'll let you speak. If you guys are arguing that it's Chinese spyware, are you saying that Donald Trump is currently arguing for a spyware a mobile device?
No, because you again, this is where I'm going to teach you.
Oh no,
I'm going to teach you politics here, so you understand.
Of course, it's Chinese spyware, but not when Donald Trump advocates for it. I love the hypocrisy on this channel.
I'm going to explain it to you.
It's delicious up here. I think
I'm going to apologize to the.
Don't talk over each other, please.
Shut up, dude, and I'll explain it to you. And I apologize to all the audience.
Harry, let Ben respond to you.
Okay, I'm going to apologize to all of the audience right now that doesn't need this explanation because you're smart enough to understand it. Now, Harry, for you, what Donald Trump said when he wanted to ban it, what Donald Trump said when he wanted to ban it is that it was clearly Chinese spyware. And there's a reason why governments, where cell phones and official government phones are not allowed to have this app on their phone. That's number one. Number two, what he did say was, I'm okay with TikTok as long it is divested from China. Now, let me explain what that means to you because clearly you don't understand it. They don't want the Chinese government.
But it's not divested from China, though. That's the problem. This is irrelevant. Nobody in America bought it or got majority of it. Is still owned by this ByteDance still. Chinese? What is the point of this?
His field,
To
trust
be
me, I
able to
understand.
spy
But
on
has
everyone
TikTok divested
and
yet,
have
Ben?
all of their information and
Has
to put out
TikTok divested
propaganda
yet?
from the Chinese Communist Party.
Has
So,
TikTok
so
divested
here's your
yet, Ben?
recap for you. Donald Trump said that if we change who owns TikTok to an American company that's not being
Premise
controlled by
two
the Chinese
is false.
Communist Party,
Premise two is
also
false.
known as the CCP. Again, if you're never going to learn, buddy, if you don't listen, okay? Then you
Premise
just
two
look
is false.
stupid all the
Premise
time.
two is false. Your premise
Donald
two is
Trump
false. Your
said,
conclusion cannot be true.
again, you can argue in a second, but listen, and maybe you'll learn something. I know you're making all your money from the Chinese Communist Party via TikTok. I get that.
And
I'd be
Dave is
defending
making his
it if I
money from the
was
Russians.
spineless
Right, we
like
understand.
you.
Right.
I'm gonna go back. He ain't letting up on Dave, and he know he was gonna get under his fucking skin. Wait.
I know you're making all your money from the Chinese Communist Party via TikTok. I get that.
And
I'd be
Dave is
defending
making
it
his
if I
money
was
from the Russians.
spineless
Right, we
like
understand.
you.
Right.
The difference is what is true and what isn't. China's not paying Harry. They run the app. But wait. I can't say that. I don't know. I'm not a TikToker. The CCP might be paying them. I don't know. Excuse me. But if it is happening, Dave was also paid by the Russians, and which is probably worse because he doesn't have to spend Chinese talking points for his platform to exist. Yeah, Dave is being paid by the Russians. We know.
Chinese Communist Party via TikTok. I get that.
And Dave is making his money from the Russians. Right, we understand. Right, of
Dude,
course.
shut the fuck up.
Piers.
Dave don't know what to do with himself. He mad as hell. He mad as hell, bro. Dude, shut the fuck up. No, he is pissed. I've never heard Dave talk like this before. He is pissed, bro.
Dave is making his money from the Russians. Right, we understand. Right, of
Dude,
course.
shut the fuck up.
Piers.
Piers,
Piers, I'm getting cooked and I can't say anything, so get him off your show. Just like Lord fucking Jamar. His bitch ass too. Niggas is getting cooked and they say stop letting them talk. This is the most fucking soft shit. You talk about First Amendment, free speech, all this shit, and as soon as you're attacked and you don't like it, you're telling Piers why is he on your show? Because why the fuck are you addressing Piers and he didn't make the claim? We need to hear that back. I muted it.
Fuck up. I get that.
And Dave is making his money from the Russians. Right, we understand. Right, of
Dude,
course.
shut the fuck up. Piers. This kid is an embarrassment.
This kid is an embarrassment. No, this kid just embarrassed me. Piers, get him off the show. This kid has embarrassed me. Get him off the. Oh my God, this sus ass behavior seems to clearly just be coming from people on the right, and I just love how they want to be the front runners of masculinity. Meanwhile, every time they ass getting baked, they want to fucking run out the oven, and you done turn that bitch on. Come on, dog.
I've gotten under
No,
his skin.
because you're just like a little rat.
You keep frying me up, and I just can't deal with it anymore. So I gotta tell the host to kick you off of the show.
We're here trying to actually discuss.
We're here trying to discuss things, and you disagree, and you're kind of getting one up on me. So I need to get you off of my show. This is such bitch ass behavior, bro.
There's an unbelievable resurgence of America
right now. This is
and we're gonna talk about America voting for Trump, even though half of America didn't vote for Trump, and there was no landslide. I'm just gonna fucking plead to the fact that the guy I like won the presidency. Like, if Kamala won, I would not be saying, this is what America wanted. I would just say, like, she won. Prepare for your lives to probably be better. Possibly be better. Meanwhile, Trump ain't doing nothing to help anybody. Just himself.
You on,
by the way,
dude,
Piers,
he brings you on because the commenters all think you're retarded, okay?
Yeah, they're stupid. You have no rebuttal for what he fucking said because you know Dave got paid by the Russians. Whether he knew it or not, Dave got paid by the Russians.
Look at these grown men freaking out right now. This guy's having a mental breakdown over there. Relax, Dave.
Call him triggered.
No, he's not. He's just because
You are having a mental breakdown. You told him to shut the fuck up. I've never heard you talk like that on Piers' show before, and this ain't the first time you got the Russian jokes.
Conversation on the
Anyway,
issue,
listen.
dude.
Listen, okay,
You're
Ben,
an
let me rebuttal
embarrassing little
you.
rat,
That's
dude.
great, Dave.
It's embarrassing because he called your dumb ass out. Like, it's just hilarious that he doesn't know what to say. You're an embarrassment. You're not disputing any points he made because he's not lying. That's why you have to say he's embarrassing. He didn't lie about shit he said. He didn't lie. He didn't even deny getting paid by the CCP. I don't know. That may be true because they own the company. I don't fucking know. But it may be true. But it's still less of an implication of his character than you getting paid by the Russians because that was egregious. He's not getting paid for how he talks. He just get paid for the platform he uses. You got an external payment from people that wanted you to keep saying the shit that you said because it furthered their political agenda as a world leader. Big difference.
That's great. Dave was complaining. He was complaining earlier about personal insults. Dave was complaining earlier about personal insults.
All right, you know what? No one can now hear a word.
Piers didn't say nothing about personal insults. Meanwhile, he called him a child and whatever. All the words he used were personal insults and nothing to do with his politics. Meanwhile, Harry said, you got paid by Russia, and Piers said, don't make it personal. What the fuck are you talking? This motherfucker, I'm finna go on Piers now.
Anyone's saying, I want to change the temperature a little bit.
Wait. Piers, can I just quickly rebuttal like 5 seconds? I promise.
No, you can't.
Okay, well, no, we not gonna continue this video because that was some bullshit. That's fucked up. He can't continue. He can't make a rebuttal while he just got jumped by these two dickheads, and you want to move on, and you didn't say anything was personal that Dave, Rubin, or Ben said, but it was personal when Harry brought up the fucking Russia payment shit. Get the fuck out of here, bro. That's goofy as hell, dog. Nah, bro, that's fucked up. But we gonna call it one for today. Appreciate any and everybody that came through the stream, man. Everybody, I appreciate y'all immensely. If you're watching this later on, make sure you leave a like, comment, sub, if not one in all three. And I'm gonna have clips of every reaction we did today. I'm gonna make a video of all of these. They're gonna be up throughout the week. And yeah, I'm gonna catch y'all probably tomorrow. I need to figure out a streaming schedule. I will keep figuring. It's Piers. You can't ask for the time. You've got to just keep talking. Yeah, man. Piers is insufferable. Like, that shit is crazy to me. It's crazy to me how blatant he is with his partisanship. Appreciate you, D Nice. Yeah. Yeah. Appreciate you. You've been rocking with me since I started this bitch. Thank you. But yeah, y'all, I'm gonna have the videos up of all these reactions we did today and whatnot. You know, probably some stuff that wasn't in this stream. But appreciate all y'all for coming through the stream, man. And I'm gonna catch y'all next one. Make sure you leave a like, comment, sub. If not one, then all three. And I'm gonna catch y'all in the next one. Peace.